Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Rudd,
Here.
Pro Tem Ford,
Here.
Councilmember Lamb,
Here.
Councilmember Mosher, here, Councilmember Danielides,
Here.
Councilmember Papachak,
Here.
Councilmember Comparoni.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Presentations, we have none, so item number 5, call to the public. Each person wishing to address the village council shall be afforded an opportunity to do so. If you wish to comment, please raise your hand, stand to indicate you wish to speak. When recognized, give your name, address, direct your comments to the chair. Remember that comments are limited to 4 minutes, and we do not reply during council or during public comments, but we take those into consideration, and at the end of the meeting, our village manager will address them if he needs to. So is there anybody for call to the public on a non-agenda item? There will be an opportunity to speak on agenda items at the calling of that item. Yes?
At the podium?
Yep, up to the podium, please. Please speak into the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Kirkland. I'm an engineer and a resident of Lake Orion. I'm here to propose that the village allow the use of the old emergency services tower to host a community mesh radio repeater as part of a broader community resilience initiative. Meshtastic and MeshCore networks are a proven low-cost technology that allows community members to communicate locally via text message without depending on cellular networks, the internet, or even the power grid. This is particularly valuable during severe weather or other emergency events, but more broadly would allow the community to engage with friends and neighbors in real time at a local level on a community-owned network, a network that is free for anyone to participate in and to grow. So I've already built a small MeshCore network based out of my home that covers much of my neighborhood as well as parts of downtown. So there's currently an active link between my house and this building connected through a $50 device that anyone can buy on Amazon. And I'm seeking feedback on the possibility to install a small solar-powered node on the village tower that would greatly expand the coverage in the area, potentially even reaching beyond the village limits. And this would give Lake Orion its own community-owned communications layer, one that serves residents directly, costs the village nothing to operate, and could help build stronger local relationships while providing resiliency during emergencies. I'd welcome the opportunity to present more fully to the council where I could provide additional background information, demonstrate the technology, and answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I would encourage you to submit your information to our village manager as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on a non-agenda item? Seeing none, I will close call to the public. Item number 6, approval of the...
Donald Kindred, you all know where I live. I come here today because I addressed a couple of things last time I was here and nothing was really done or said about them. I'm here today to remind you all that you all work for we the people here. For 2, you don't have the right to take the camera out of a public conference room when that camera was put in there to keep everybody in line. So if something was said during a council meeting that shouldn't have been said, it can come back and be shown to the public later. The camera needs to be put back in the conference room, people. It's that simple. Nobody had the right to remove that camera. This is a public building. Every room in this building has a camera except the bathrooms. Next. The officers of this village seem to think that if somebody says something on Facebook, they could show up at your house for a welfare check. This is bullshit. They do not have to show up at your house for anything said on Facebook. I've been swatted twice. I'm tired of the crap. I don't know where this comes into play, where the Lake Orion police, somebody calls them and tells them, somebody said something that hurt my feelings on Facebook, so you got to go give them a welfare check. What's wrong with this picture? What happened to my freedom of speech? Then, I get thrown out of here one night accused of disorderly conduct when I was using my freedom of speech. And I had to go before the judge. I had an officer accuse me of being disorderly. I had to go before the judge again. For it all to get thrown in the trash because of my First Amendment rights. And you people like to stand here and cover all this stuff up. The things that we in the village keep pointing out to you, yet nothing seems to get done. What's wrong with this picture? Can you please tell me? You can all sit up there and not say a word, but nobody ever has any answers for the questions that we have. Then I say, we've got the river flowing over here. Oh, we're going to get that looked into. We're going to take care of that. That didn't seem to happen. That got thrown right out the window, apparently. So now I'm going to pay to have a survey team come in and literally go over that parking lot from the top to the bottom of it to show. I don't need to show nothing in the middle of the parking lot. I could show at this end of the parking lot in Jackson Street, there is water flowing under that road. And it's coming from under Jackson Street, flowing through that parking lot, down behind the Irish Tavern, through my friend's backyard, and down to the river. Now, if you think I'm joking, I've walked the manager of the village over there, and I've walked the chief of police over there. I've shown them. I've jumped in that river with my own 2 feet, stuck my arms up under that bank and said, here's where it's dumping in. Has anything been done about that yet? I didn't think so. I think it's time you people start doing what the people of this village ask to have done. This is why you're supposed to be here. What's wrong with this picture? How many years have I been bitching about this? Yet nothing still gets done? People just keep burying it up. Let's cover it up. Kind of like the lady that got murdered here in the apartment complex a couple years ago. I wonder how many people here heard about that? Anybody here hear about the lady that got murdered right here? No. Because everybody in this village, even the police department, likes to cover everything up and not say nothing to the public. What happened to transparency in a public office? What's wrong with this picture, ladies and gentlemen? Have a good evening.
Time's up, thank you. So moving on to approval of the agenda. By order of the president, no matters will be discussed after 9:30 PM unless the council votes to continue the meeting. Council. Mr. Lamb?
I have a question for the village manager. On item 7D, is that a mistyping of there are, cited B and C and D all appear to be receive and file, but item D says approval of the village council CIP meeting minutes.
It should be receive and file.
Okay, so I would enter that
Okay.
that be corrected in the agenda.
No, but the council should be receive and file.
Is that a motion to approve the agenda with that corrected?
Yes.
All right.
Unless then someone else has it.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are approved by one vote, and I will read those out. Bear with me, there's a lot of them. Item A, approval of Village Council regular meeting minutes of March 23, 2026. B, receive and file Village Council CIP Alternative Funding Committee meeting minutes of March 24, 2026. C, receive and file Village Council CIP Alternative Funding Committee meeting minutes March 26, 2026. Item D, receive and file Village Council CIP Alternative Funding Committee meeting minutes of March 31st, 2026. Item E, receive and file Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting minutes of December 4, 2025. F, receive and file Planning Commission regular meeting minutes March 2, 2026. G, receive and file Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee regular meeting minutes February 24, 2026. H, receive proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget and scheduled budget work sessions and public hearing. I, Parks and Recreation Committee term reappointments. J, receive and file correspondence request for Matt Shader. K, Orion Community Cable Commission, Communication Commission 2024 financial audit report. Item L, receive and file investment report February 26 and March 26. M, receive and file the cash management and fund balance monitoring process memo from Clerk's Treasurer Stout. N, receive and file financial statements March 26. O, renewal of uniform video service local franchise agreement with DirecTV. P, receive and file invoice distribution report for April 14, 2026. Q, receive and file March 26 Police Department activity report. R, resolution in opposition to passage of Michigan House Bills 5529-5532 and 5581-5585 regarding local municipal zoning authority. S, receive and file of March 26 Planning and Zoning Monthly Report by McKenna. Council. Mr. Dandelides?
I would appreciate pulling down H, the proposed budget and schedule, as well as M, receive and file the cash management and fund balance report.
Anything else? Then I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of H and M for further discussion.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Dandelides.
Thank you. The manager has put forth a schedule for the budget workshops. I think there's 4 of them. No issue with the workshops. And I will make the motion to receive and file the proposed budget, et cetera. However, I'm going to add to that motion that the budget workshops, work sessions be held in council chambers, broadcast live through on TV, and video recorded, enabling post-meeting review. Okay, so I'll read the total motion.
Thank you.
So make the motion to receive the village manager's proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 budget and to schedule the village council budget work sessions to review the proposed budget for 4 p.m. on the following dates: Wednesday, April 15th, Monday, April 20th, Wednesday, April 22nd, and Thursday, April 23rd, with those budget work sessions to be held in council chambers, broadcast live through on TV, and video recorded, enabling post-meeting review.
We have a motion. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Thank you. Council comments or discussion? Mr. Lamb.
I fully appreciate and support Mr. Dandelides' intentions. I have a couple of small requests. One, because of the nature of the meetings, I would like to have some tables set up in front of the diocese, or whatever you call this circle thing, and have the village manager and his staff be within a much closer range, and so we can all visually be seeing each other. If there's an audience, they'll have to look at the backs, but I would appreciate it if we could have them move where we can have a little bit, closer talk. I enjoy the closed, small room groups, but I really understand the need to have the public in on what's going on. So if we could I'm asking for your consideration. It's nothing to do with them.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to have them in there, but we don't have the capability of recording and live streaming.
Mr. McClure, would there be any issue in kind of outside of microphone issues potentially? Is there a capability to kind of bring everybody up closer in here with tables?
We'll do our best
Okay.
to accommodate. I believe on TV indicated one of those afternoons could be problematic, and I can't remember which date it was. I think it was I think it was the following week. It was either the 20th or 22nd. So one of those dates may be problematic. The other ones, they indicated that on TV could handle with no problem.
As long as they were done by 6 p.m.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Public comments?
Francesco Comandera, I'm still unlanded. In regards to that, I remember back, you guys spent a lot of money to put in a phone system to accommodate your meetings virtually, so when people were out on vacation or something, you could still have council meetings in there. So I don't think it would be out of the purview to do something like that to accommodate for the public as well. And also too, I believe that and I can't speak for anybody, I can't speak for ONTV, But it's on my understanding, they are very willing to accommodate for anything you guys ask them for, anything and everything, and they've got a lot of funding, and they just need to know. And that's it.
Thank you. Any other public comment? We have a motion, we have support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item M, receive and file cash management fund balance monitoring process memo from Clerk Treasurer Stout. Mr. Dandelides.
President
Thank
Rett,
you.
we need to complete the motion, number 2, part of H.
Oh, is there a
There's
second
2
part?
motions.
You want a copy of the motion? Is that-
No, there are two. It was to receive
Oh.
the process and schedule the dates, but then also the public hearing. So I'll move to schedule the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget and proposed millage rates for Monday, May 11, 26 at 6:30 PM.
Support.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So item M, Mr. Dandelides.
Thank you. Sonia, thank you for putting the process together as requested. One of the things that I had asked for at the last meeting, that I'd like to ask for more specifically at this meeting, is the level of risk and the insurability of our investments. We've got roughly $10 million in money sitting in accounts, and I'd like to see something that says with each of those accounts, what's our level of risk? You know, I think my personal savings, FDIC is what I think of. I don't know if there are similar things in the public sector, but I'd like to see something that gives us some assurance that our funds are secure. So I wrote a motion. I'm going to read it. I'd like to make a motion to direct the village manager to prepare a report detailing the current security of each of our investment accounts and associated risk, and a plan to mitigate any risk associated with our current investment strategy. This report to be presented to council no later than the first meeting in June 2026.
We have a motion. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Thank you. Council comments? Mr. Lamb?
I think was it the last meeting or the meeting before, we had the village manager, and we adopted the formal investment policy. And the formal investment policy directed the village manager to invest the funds in conformance with the policy, which specified the specific risks categories that he would be able to undertake. So I'm just asking why we have the duplicitous effort of having him report on what he already told. Did that make sense? I'm having
No.
trouble speaking for some reason. It's unusual, but
No, and I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense, because all that said was, we're counting on the village manager to invest the funds in whatever way you said, right? I don't know what that level of risk is, do you?
yeah, it was in the protocol procedure. Darren, what's the word for the document we approved?
Policy.
It was in our investment
The
policy.
investment policy, are those risks and structure not included in there?
So we only invest in vehicles that are permitted by state law to be invested in. Local government investment programs, such as what Oakland County puts on, that is an investment program that is established by state law, and we are allowed to invest in our surplus funds in that investment vehicle. There is some risk to those investments, and I don't think either one of us is qualified to tell you a specific level of risk. I know that Sonia and I have had discussions about this. She would prefer that we have a representative from the local government investment program come and make a presentation to you, and then you can ask them directly what the risk levels are. I just know that the money goes out, it's invested in many different types of investments. There's always some level of risk with those, but the fact that the monies are spread out over so many investments, it mitigates the level of risk. But we are not qualified to make those determinations. I would recommend that we have a representative from the local government investment program come and make a presentation directly to council.
And would that person be able to address each of those funds that's in that investment report that we get every month?
I can't answer for them, but that's a question you should address to them. I
Okay,
would hope so.
So can you, if that person, I mean, it makes no sense to bring that person in, and then we ask them, we got 9, let's say we got 10 funds, can you talk about all 10 of those? And he says, well, no, I can only talk about one. Why would we bring them in and do that? Can't you ask that person, can you address all of those? And if the answer to that is yes, then I'm perfectly fine with that. If the answer to that question is no, then your follow-up question should be, okay, who do I talk to, or who can I bring in addition to, so that all of those funds can be addressed?
We can address that question to Oakland County, and so that they're prepared.
See, I recognize that we're investing in state-approved, okay? But what I don't know is there one state-approved fund, or are there 100 to select from, and they've got different levels of risk? And have we adopted the best strategy? I don't know, but that's the question I'm asking.
My understanding, and Sonia, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is there are only 2 pooled investment programs, county investment programs in the state of Michigan, Oakland County being one of them.
Okay, but we got $4 million sitting in a checking account at Oxford Bank. Is that insured, or is it totally at risk? I don't know.
Even the monies that are at Oxford Bank are not fully insured. Because to do so, we would have to split it up into so many different accounts to stay under that $250,000 threshold. It's impossible. So the answer to your question is no, probably all of the monies are not FDIC insured. I would recommend that you talk to other communities such as Orion Township. They have tens of millions of dollars invested probably.
Okay, so bottom line is I've talked to Orion Township and I get a different answer. So I'm asking for what our level of risk is, because I've already talked to Orion Township.
And they're saying that all of their funds are
I'm not
insured?
I'm not a financial guy. I'm an engineer.
Okay, but what did they tell you?
They told me that they're in a lot better shape from a risk standpoint, very specifically than we are. That's what they told me.
Okay,
So if I
it's very
remember,
general.
so if I remember
Okay.
from our discussion that Mr. Lamb referred to, is that the administration in our financial strategies would choose, would investigate ways to make it more secure and more insured, but it doesn't mitigate any risk. It'd be really hard for them to mitigate all risk, but that you would do your due diligence in making sure that we can mitigate risk wherever we can.
And we do
and
that,
look at those strategies.
and we've had discussions with Oxford Bank, we've had discussions with Oakland County. We do the best that we can to mitigate those, but I can tell you, Orion Township invests in the same vehicles we do. Michigan Class, and probably Oakland County Local Government Investment Program.
I think from my standpoint, I think it'd be beneficial for us to have a presentation from Oakland County just so we can hear from them
It definitely would.
what they're, a little bit more about the investments.
Yeah,
Mr.
I think if they're listening to this, that we should not compel, perhaps ask Mr. Dantley to withdraw his motion and perhaps request the village manager to provide some presentations to educate us, and then we can determine if we need to ask additional questions or direct him to do things. He's indicated he's not feeling, I don't want to use the word competent, to explain financial investment policy or strategies to us, other than using accounts that are readily available to them from the government. I know that it's really hard $10 million safely placed anywhere except in a big bank with people with guns. Okay? So I think we should go with Darwin's recommendation and have some presentation.
So Mike, would you like your motion to stand? I hear a request.
No, quite honest, I really don't care how it happens. I just want to know that we're exercising our fiduciary responsibility, right? That's all I want to know, and I don't think it's an unreasonable question. So I don't care how it gets answered, I just want it answered. So I'll withdraw the motion, but I'm hoping somebody comes up with a motion that's better. Pick me, pick me.
Wait, I saw a hand over there.
I agree. I would like a presentation. I think that would be very helpful for everybody, including the public, to find out, exactly what's out there, what we have. And then I think we can move forward after that. So I definitely would approve of that.
Okay, so I'll just make the motion to direct the village manager.
Comparoni needs to withdraw.
Oh,
Would
talk
you
to-
withdraw your
George
support?
withdrew. I just
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you,
Well, I'm in a mood tonight. I want to know now, where the heck's my money at? But I will withdraw. Where's my money? I want it now.
speak up, sir.
Yes, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to direct the village manager to put together a presentation on the investment methods currently in use in the village, with whatever support he can get from the bond fund suppliers.
The Oakland County Investment Pool Manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll support. Other council comments? Public comments? All right, we have a motion to direct the village manager to bring back a report using resources from our Oakland County partners. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, public hearings. A, reprogramming of program year 2024 and program year 2025 community development block grant funds. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, you're scheduled to hold a public hearing on the reprogramming of the village's program year 2024 and program year 2025 community development block grant funds. The village is seeking to reprogram the funds as follows. To reprogram from 2024, remove architectural barriers, $9,348. And 2025, parks and recreational facilities, $7,000. And proposed to reprogram to 2024 code enforcement, $9,348, and 2025 code enforcement, $7,000. And I would recommend, council, that you open the public hearing, hear public comment, and then close the public hearing. And the clerk will prepare the minutes of any comments made. But the county's a stickler. They don't like any of us making comments during the public comment period, so.
Thank you. I'll move to open the public hearing on the reprogramming of program year 2024 and program year 2025 community development block grant funds.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing for the reprogramming of program year 24 and 25 community development block grant funds is open. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, I will move to close the public hearing for the reprogramming of program year 24 and 25 community development block grant funds.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So then item number 3, or motion number 3, I'll move to approve the reprogramming of the Village of Lake Orion program year 24 and program year 25 community development block grant funds as follows. Program year 24, remove architectural barriers in the amount of $9,348, and year 25, parks and recreation facilities, $7,000. 2, program year 24, code enforcement for $9,348, and program year 25, code enforcement in the amount of $7,000.
Support.
Do we need a roll call for that, or just, roll call, please?
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford,
Yes.
Councilmember Dan Delitis,
Yes.
President Rudd,
Yes.
Councilmember Camperoni,
Yes.
Councilmember Papachek,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 10, other items. A, FOIA appeal commendarium. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, you are scheduled to consider a FOIA request from Mr. Francesco Comandera. And we provided you with the background information on this. At this time, if it's okay with you, Your Honor, I would turn it over to the village clerk for any additional comments before we hear comments from the petitioner.
Thank you.
Okay, so on March 19th, the village did receive a FOIA request via email from Mr. Comandera. We had, it is in your packet on page 205, the actual FOIA request. We had denied the FOIA request pursuant to MCL 15.233(1), and then we also denied it for MCL 15.2355. What we had determined was the requester did not actually include a mailing address, which is also part of a FOIA request. And then also on 2, the reason why we denied it was a very broad date. There was no year attached to it. Mr. Comandera, when we had sent out the denial of the FOIA request, had claimed that he was indigent, and that does not require a FOIA person requesting to provide the mailing address. However, he never notified us to let us know he was indigent. So we did not know when we had made the denial. We have attached the FOIA, we have attached the appeal, we have attached the MCL, and also at your desk is a packet that lists all the MCLs for the FOIA. We've also attached the forms that go with the normal FOIA request. Mr. Comandera's FOIA request came in via email. On our actual FOIA form, there is a box you can check to be considered indigent. However, that was not in his email, that he was indigent. So we have denied the FOIA request. There are 3 motions before you for council to decide what action we should take.
Thank you. And we'll hear from from Mr. Commander, who's making the appeal before council then debates and decides.
Hey guys, how are you? Francesco Comandera. Just for transparency, I'm Frank Bash on Facebook. Just want to be transparent about that. Number one, I agree wholeheartedly with everything that you guys did. And again, like I said earlier at your meeting, I love all of you, and my issue is not with you, it's with the system that you represent. That being said, when I received notification from the clerk, and I came here earlier today to make sure all of you had a copy of the whole statute, because they only provide excerpts. I'm not a fan of Cliff Notes. I love to read books. I love to read. You got to read the whole book to understand it. You just can't look at the Cliff Notes to understand the whole concept of what someone's trying to say. So that being said, again, no quarrels with you guys on your end. We spoke, and that's beautiful. But it just brings to me the attention, because when she sent it to me in the request, not her, it was Lindsay who sent it. That specific, that's on page 3 of the document I sent you guys. It specifically says, a request from a person other than an individual qualifies as indigent under blah, blah. That was not in the email I got. So my point being is that if someone were to file this and get communication back, I think that's very confusing, and I think that should be transparent. And in regards to using third-party applications or whatever you use, there's nothing in this statute that says I have to follow a third-party app. I went over it many times today, again, that I've been over. Nothing states that a citizen has to comply with some application or some process. It's a convenience for them, okay? And it essentially creates barriers for access, because now here I am going to be, maybe, now you have 10 days, I believe. I know you can't respond back to me, but now you have 10 days to reply to this. We're looking at a month for information that I should have been able to receive. It's my understanding, I could literally walk into your office and write a FOIA request with a crayon on a napkin, and as long as I follow everything in this document, you have no right to deny me. And that's my point. And, you know, it's just, again, I'm not mad with you guys or mad at any of you people individually. It's just, I don't think that that is a right system, and I think that we need to be a little bit more open about the people, and I don't want to be an asshole, sorry, but I think you guys need to be a little more educated. About a couple of years ago, I was challenged to come out here, and I was shouted at by one of your, or not yours, by an Orion Township trustee member making public comment the first time I came here, because you guys called me out on Facebook telling me, well, you get your butt down here and do something. And I did, and I have been, and I'm not stopping. And it's not personal. I am just a warrior in this because you guys are the ones who have sworn an oath to the Constitution, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't. I am a private citizen. You guys, that's all I want to say before I get in, or that's all I have to say on this comment. And I just want to let you know, like today, walking around with people, and I'm a musician in the area, and I'm an artist, and it's so crazy to see people come up and shake my hand in silence because they're afraid to come here and speak their mind, because they're afraid that they're going to suffer the same things I've suffered for the past few years. I have been nothing but honest with you guys. I've never said that you guys have done anything illegal. I've never done anything like that. I'm an artist, and I watch how you guys interact on the Lake Orion chat room, and all I did was do my artist, and I mirrored it. And all I did was act like how all you guys, not you guys, but the people, how you guys act on that. And it's, sorry, I'm getting emotional, but I just think people need to get a little bit more. Don't read the Cliff Notes. Read the damn book. Read the whole book. And don't rely on what an attorney tells you, because these attorneys are not about making things better. Attorneys want to make money. So that's all I have to say on that. And I appreciate your time and effort and what you guys did in there earlier today. That was beautiful and impressive. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Counsel. Mr. Lamb.
Madam President, as I read this, I see that the clerk had valid arguments, you know, based on a cursory application information. That, you know, she claimed that she states, that the mailing address was not included and that a date wasn't put on there. Then I see another correspondence that says I don't have an address, and then there's a date specified. And then I have a lot of legal citations, MCL something, 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 something. Okay. Then at the bottom here, I see 3 recommended motions, and it says that people did not comply with state laws in specifying MCL something, something, something. But what I don't see here is, you know, a recommendation from the village attorney about what to do with MCL something, something. Okay, whenever I see the MCL something, something, I want to see the village attorney, not somebody else's attorney, the village attorney, recommending to me what I should do if it's that critical. Personally, I don't know anything about FOIA. The only FOIA as I do, I FOIA the township, and they type in a little box, and they send me whatever I want. Okay, usually in a day. It's amazing. So I'm not disinclined to, you know, grant this guy his FOIA request. I don't see the harm. My understanding is, I don't know the law, so I don't know about who's paying. If it's like takes days and days of work, it costs a lot of money, somebody's got to pay for it. I don't know if the law says, so I'm not in a position to grant his request, not knowing who's responsible to pay for it. So I'm going to save us all a long night. I'm going to make a motion to the village, to direct the village manager to seek out the opinion of the village attorney about, is the indigent guy eligible? And if so, who has to pay for his request? I personally, and I see no objection to his request. There's nothing out of line with his request. I think that would be the best.
I saw our clerk had her hand up.
The village attorney was consulted when we received this FOIA, asking if we could deny the FOIA based on those two statutes that were listed, and they did state that those were applicable denial reasons. Only because if this did go to the next step, they would be involved.
So-
Okay, well, I have a motion stating, so no one supports. So I'm going to withdraw that motion and make a new motion, okay? I believe that I would like to make a motion to request the village attorney, who will be responsible to pay for all of this work prior to us rendering a decision on whether or not to honor the request. I think that's the heart of the whole thing here, is how much work, there's a lot of review here, a lot of voluminous documents. I don't care about the indigent status, I don't care about the mailing address. He can be contacted, he can come and pick the stuff up in person and sign, you know, the notarized paper. You know, I understand having a mailing address is because you need to have a place to send legal documents under all the laws. So that's what I would like to see happen. And then if he's got to pay for it, or if we have to pay for it, well, that's the issue here. Who's got to pay for it? I know.
So could you clearly state what your motion is to see if there's support?
Oh, to ask the village manager to get the opinion of the village attorney, who's got to pay for this. The indigent status is unclear to me. If it's going to cause a, $10,000 bill to the village, I may, request to deny it.
Is there support? Motion does not move forward. So I would like to answer a couple of those questions. So I looked into it because our policy was a little bit unclear whether or not, our FOIA policy was a little unclear whether I just answer this or the village council, because it kind of said both. So I did look into it. So the law says that the requester needs to sign an affidavit of indigency. He does not have to use our forms per se, but he does need to sign an affidavit of indigency in order to get the indigent status. And so that requires it being notarized and coming in and doing that wherever. The law also states it only waives the first $20 of the processing fees, not all of them. It's only the first $20. And because of the date discrepancy on the FOIA request, there was no total amount given on what this would cost for the requester. So had that been in there earlier, and had he not requested an appeal, that number would have been known. And then if he filed the affidavit of indigency, that would waive the first $20, but not the full fee, unless this village council, the law does allow this village council to waive the fee if we feel like there's a significant public benefit to that FOIA request being fulfilled. Then we are allowed to make that determination on whether we want to waive the fee and have the village and administration absorb those costs. So, yeah.
So,
Mr. Nandelides.
so I read all of this also, and it's actually MCL 15234 that describes exactly what President Rutt just described in a lot of detail, and that was not in the package that we got, but if you go to the Michigan website, it's all there. I have a copy if you'd like to see it. So I agree with what President Rutt said. The two things that were cited, and this was denied, I believe were legitimate. Reading the original request, FOIA request, and reading the MCL law or whatever you want to call it. The appeal, I guess you call it an appeal, that the petitioner filed, then brought in the indigency piece of it. That was not in the original request, FOIA request. So that was a subsequent. from what I read, where we're kind of bottled up is that the affidavit hasn't been executed. And I think it could be very easily right here at Village Hall, we could notarize it. I think it'd be very simple. And so from getting attorneys' opinions and whatnot, to me, this would be very simple to come resubmit the FOIA with the appropriate affidavit. I agree that it's the $20 that would get, that would get waived as a result of the indigency. And I think we could move forward very easily with a resubmission with that affidavit and the date correction. I think the mailing address drops off because of the indigency. So I think it's really very simple, and we could move on. Now, I do have a concern when I read the request that the request is so inclusive of, basically the request says if it has Matt Gibbs' name in it, then that document needs to be forwarded. And it includes text messages, emails, video recordings, meeting minutes. That's going to be a huge undertaking. And if that's really the request, I think the dollars are going to add up. So I would recommend really honing in on what it is we're looking for, because I think the cost's going to get huge.
So I agree with both of you, and thank you for clarifying. Since you're going to interpret the state law for me, I'm willing to accept your interpretation. That kind of washes my hands of that. So the motion I'd like to make is to accept his application. And accept his application, waive his $20 fee if he provides an affidavit, and have the village clerk prepare the estimate for the information. It's that simple. We don't need to do anything. If he wants his $20, he'll send the affidavit in. If he doesn't want his $20, then she can just, he supplied the information, he gave some dates. We can't refine his request for information.
Yeah, that's just my suggestion.
So we don't need to keep going back and forth. Let them prepare the estimate of costs, and if he wants that voluminous information and is willing to pay for it, if that's what's required, let him pay for it. And you said $20 was our liability for the affidavit, correct?
Yeah, I'm a little unsure if so the three, it says that the council may take, the three actions we can take is just reverse the denial, and then you fulfill as originally submitted, to uphold the denial, or reverse it in part, but deny in part, and we then have to parse out, so.
My
I guess-
motion is to reverse the denial, okay? And then offer him, the $20, that's up to him. It's not, if he wants the indigent waiver, then he'll have to supply the affidavit, okay? If he doesn't want to supply the affidavit, then his request is still valid because he made the request. So that's up to him to decide if he wants to be indigent. So I move to honor his request, to reverse the denial. It's, I didn't see anything stated in there that it's out of character for a FOIA request.
Is there support for that?
Yes, I support.
Okay. I'm going to disagree and tell you I'm going to vote no on that because I think the proper protocol is to uphold the denial of his request on the basis he didn't comply, and then he is more than willing to resubmit that. I think that's more the proper protocol, is then for him to just resubmit, add the date, come in and do the affidavit, because if you uphold or reverse the denial, reverse the denial and then as originally submitted, or uphold in part for, uphold the denial in part for records not maintained by the village, allow in part. So I think the proper procedure is to uphold the denial and ask him to resubmit properly.
Your Honor, if I could clarify something, he doesn't even need to resubmit everything. The only thing that we need from him is a clarification of the dates for the documents that he's requesting. We do need the affidavit filed. And if we receive those two pieces of information, we could reconsider the FOIA request that he submitted to us. I do want to clarify something and why this is so important. we as administration have to make sure that we are fair, uniform, and consistent in how we deal with any FOIA request that comes before us. And I think Mr. Comandera understands that, at least from the comments that he made. I got the impression that he understands that. It's all about being fair, uniform, and consistent with anyone who submits a request to us. We have to follow the letter of the law. And whether we agree with the requirements that they put on indigent people, because I don't necessarily agree with the law and how strict it is with people who are less fortunate. But we have to follow the strict letter of the law. We did not have discretion in requiring that affidavit to be able to waive the first $20 in fees. Without the year that the request applied to in terms of the date of the documents, the request was overly broad. We couldn't determine specifically what he was asking for. We could not identify the documents that he wanted because the date was not complete. So if those two pieces of information can be provided to us, he doesn't have to refile everything. Just provide us with those two additional pieces of information and we can reconsider the FOIA.
So so my understanding was the proper procedure would be deny, and then have him do that instead.
You should deny it, but administratively, we don't need to require him to refile everything.
Okay.
I'll withdraw my motion. All right,
Would you withdraw
Yes,
your support? Okay.
yes. Clarification,
so,
yes.
no. I'm just gonna talk. So Darwin just said that basically, all the applicant has to do is correct the deficiencies, and he doesn't have to reapply per se.
Correct.
So, in my mind, there was no point, if that had been told to him, or if he had understood that, I don't know which is the case, nor do I care to decide, you know, he could have resolved this all himself. So, I fully understand Darwin's explanation.
I think he already corrected the date, because I saw
Yeah.
a subsequent document in here where he corrected the date.
All that's missing is the
Yeah.
affidavit.
Yeah, so I'm going to move to uphold the denial of Mr. Comandera's FOIA request on the basis that the request did not comply with the requirements of Michigan's Freedom of Information Act, specifically MCL 15.2331 and MCL 15.2355, as it didn't include a complete mailing address and failed to sufficiently describe the public records sought to do due to an ambiguous time frame.
Support.
And then I would just request, make the comment to the petitioner that, we've heard the comments from Mr. McCleary, and to, if the affidavit is provided, that it would be reconsidered at the administration level, and they can proceed on that. Any other council comments?
Yeah, I just got a quick comment. I think Mr. Comandera would be more upset if we didn't follow the law. If we didn't go, if they didn't catch that mistake, he'd been on your ass in a minute. So I can respect him for that. And we're doing the right thing here, just let him redo, or no penalties or anything like that. So, yeah, I think he would have been honest if we'd just let it slide.
Mr. Ford?
I just want to make sure, I guess for my clarification too, because that third motion did include to uphold the denial in part for records not maintained by the village. So in the process of reapplying, dates, the indigenous certification, but also understand that any requests that the DDA might have needs to be made to them. So if that's included in this whole thing, then it's still not, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, once that's then submitted, the administration, the clerk will make a determination if there are records that are not held by the clerk's office and need to go to the DDA. She'll make that clear to the requester. Any other council comments, public comments? Yeah, Mr. Comandera.
Thank you, guys. Yes, and you were right. I don't want to address anyone. You can't address anyone, but the council member was right. I put the law and procedure over, prerogative, if you want to say. That being said, I hope we all learned a valuable lesson that everyone in this room, including the people up here, are learning how to fly a plane while it's in the air, okay? That's very apparent. And again, to clarify, I am as one of these council members quoted, the indigent guy. Yeah, I'm the poor smelly guy in the room right now. I'm sorry. But this isn't about money. This is about supplying my address. I have been very vocal. I get lots of threats. I was denied police service by a member of the village police due to me being homeless. I was told verbatim that, oh man, you got to go to whatever on your mailing address, which is completely erroneous, and which the chief did agree with me. We had a long conversation about that. I was referred to go through the avenue of filing through the Board of Ethics, but given let's just say this, the thing that started me off on this whole thing, why I'm vocal online, is because I was advocating to amend the TIF. While everyone in the community was doing their tribalistic crap and saying, everyone wants to defund the DDA. I don't want to defund the DDA. I want the DDA to succeed. And I don't know if people know, we have the secretaries here, Mrs.
Just
Lord.
remember, we do have to keep our comments to the merits of the pending question, and that is of the upholdal of the denial or not, so.
Okay. I would just want to say, we are lucky to have the treasurer here, the board chair, and the DDA director himself here, and to give the DDA director these issues I've had with the DDA happened long before Mr. Gibb was in charge of the DDA. You remember that year I found financial irregularities with the DDA accounts, and 3 months later.
The motion is about the upholdal or the reversal of the FOIA request, so going outside those bounds, we need to keep it to the merits of the motion.
I'm trying to explain the merit for incompetency. You guys had material weaknesses and significant deficiencies that year, including an account that the DDA had without your guys' knowledge. So my point being is that how can I trust a system that can't even audit themselves and take care of what's going on down the street? So.
Again, it needs to be the merit of whether or not we should uphold.
And if I need to stop talking, just tell me, I will. But I agree with everything being said. But just remember, this is second-class citizenship to me. Because if I had a home, this wouldn't be an issue. Just remember that.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Since we're speaking about FOIAs, Donald Gindred here.
Remember, it does have to be on the merit of this particular, whether or not we should reverse or uphold the denial.
Well, from what I understand about FOIAs, you don't need to put an address because you can pick up the information that you request, okay? 2, there is no reason to deny his FOIA request other than the fact that the lawyer doesn't seem to feel that the 2 instances where he didn't have his address and that he was indigent that's against our constitutional rights. Just because the man didn't file an indigent report and didn't have his address on a FOIA request doesn't give them the right to keep it from him. I could be homeless. I don't have to give you an address. I come up here, I don't tell you my address. I don't have to. Why set myself up for somebody who doesn't like me to take me out on the side and find my address and maybe hurt my house? Maybe hurt the things I have there? You people better start looking at the right rules and start doing things right. And ask your attorney if he knows what constructive extortion is. The way he came in and had all the neighbors, either give up part of the parking lot or he was going to take them to court and sue them and have them pay the taxes on it. That's called constructive extortion. You know, I don't get it. I really don't, and I'm sure these people don't either. I don't get it. You want to cover everything up. You don't want us to be able to get what we need to get. I request a FOIA. They charge me so much money for
Remember,
it,
we
and then
need
they
to keep
black
it on the
out.
merits of this FOIA
Well,
appeal.
they're all the same, any FOIA. If it's my FOIA, his FOIA, anybody's FOIA. You don't need your address. If he's indigent, he didn't have that on the form at the time, so he didn't have to fill that out then. So, okay, fill out the form of indigency, that's fine. But as far as an address goes, that man doesn't need one. That man doesn't need one. He could come here and pick up that request after they pick up the phone and call him, just like they do me. Just like they do me. And for them to give him a harassment because of what he asked for, that's all this is. That's all this is. Run that man in circles. If you think I don't see it, you're wrong. You just keep put the bull behind the cart so nobody sees it. Just because you people don't want that paperwork to get out right away. You're going to find some reason to try and cover it up. He has the right to have them call him to pick up that FOIA request. It doesn't matter where he lives. You don't need to know where he lives. Nobody needs to know where he lives. That's part of our Constitution. I don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's time for y'all to sit back and really stop and think about all that. It's called Freedom of Information Act for a reason. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, we have a motion on the floor to deny, uphold the denial of the FOIA request. And again, the comment, that he can provide his affidavit of indigency, and the village administration will reconsider that. Yes, Mr. Lamb.
I appreciate all of your comments, and Mr. McCleary's. I'm going to vote no on this issue because I really believe this could have easily been handled administratively. Okay, maybe, and this is a bit much for me. Thank you.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Motion carries. Item B, 2026 Street Improvement Project Determination of Necessity. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, you held a needs public hearing to receive public comments from affected property owners on the need for the 2026 Street Improvement Program on March 23rd. After the public hearing, council decided to postpone action on a determination of necessity until property owners could be notified and encouraged to provide input as to whether they feel the project is needed. Council will need to determine if there is a need for the project before the project planning and special assessment processes may continue. And then I provided you with an explanation once again of what the project involves. We did send out a notice to all of the affected property owners. The clerk did receive some responses, and you've been provided with a summary of those responses.
Thank you, council. Mr. Lamb.
You're going to like this one. I'm going to recommend a motion. I'm going to find the 2026 Street Improvement Program necessary with the following modification. The modification would be, I believe that 100% of the residents of Clare Street have said they didn't want it paved. That can be corrected. In that case, I would like to have Clare Street removed, and I'd request additionally that the village manager look into abandoning or vacating the paved portion of that street and returning it to its natural state of lawn. Since we don't need a road there, we get rid of it.
So your motion is to find the project necessary with the removal of Clare Street.
Yes, with then direction to the village manager to investigate removing the pavement from Clare Street.
Is there support? Motion does not continue.
Okay, I'll make my second motion.
So my comment, as I have looked through and we'll allow public comment on this, I'm inclined to go back to the original, what we applied the grant for. I hear the people on Clare Street, but I also hear our village administration in that if we modify,
You need a motion, Teresa. You need a motion on the floor.
well, then I will move that we find the 2026 street improvement program necessary for the amount in the original street improvement plan as presented in the grant.
Support.
So my reasoning is that the Clare Street, I hear them, but if we try to modify that grant program, I've heard administration state that we could potentially lose all funding for the entire project, and I don't want to put the entire project at risk. I have seen on the feedback that we got that outside of Clare Street, those and Lake Street, those on the affected streets in the grant program have opted in to some extent, but for those that weren't part of the grant program, overwhelmingly said they would like to opt out from it, with the very few exceptions. And so my recommendation and my motion is to proceed with the original plan that we got the grant funding for.
Oh,
I have a comment. I was really disappointed, to be honest, with the turnout of this, and I don't think that we can take this entire project, it's such a small amount that sent these in. If you look at the entire street, how many people are on the street? So are we basing our decision on whether the roads get fixed on this small, tiny portion of the population in that area? Is this what we're doing? Because this is nothing. I mean, if you look at North Shore and you add up all the people that are from the beginning to the end, it's not 5 houses. So I think it's unfair, because people did not, I think it's unfair to have this small amount make the decision for the rest of us. This cannot be the ultimate decision maker.
Mr. Ford and then Mr. Dandelides.
I think I expressed the last time when we looked at this, my desire to maintain the grant funding and drop it back down to the streets that were included in that. I think that anything else, we lose that grant funding. Anyway, so I would be in favor of the motion.
Mr. Dandelides and then Mr. Lamb.
Is the chart on page 234, is that inclusive of every resident that responded, whether they were here live or they responded by email? So it is inclusive?
Yes, it does include the minutes from the previous, if I was able to interpret if they were for or against.
Okay, so every resident on these streets received the letter, had the opportunity to come to the public hearing, the needs public hearing. We actually postponed to give people another opportunity to weigh in. I know of at least one person that contacted me and said they were contacted by their neighbors and say, hey, who do I call? Where do I see the map? Where do I, whatever. So somebody was knocking on doors. Some of the residents were knocking on neighbors' doors. So I hear what you're saying about this being a small number, but I don't know what else you do to go ask people what they want. And when I look at and I didn't do the math here, but when I look at it, this looks overwhelming to me that there is not a need, that folks want to opt out. So to me, it comes down to, we've got this grant money that we can either choose to take advantage of or not choose to take advantage of. So for me, the decision is, what do we do to take advantage of the money that we've got available to us? And then the rest, the folks are telling us not to do it.
Whoa. Just-
Mr. Lamb?
I'm very confused here. All right. So this agenda item is to approve the necessity for a street paving project. Okay, I believe what you just said is you want to go back to this little, pave a couple of streets at the end of Flint Street and screw the rest of it.
The original grant program. that-
Yeah, so the original grant money is coming no matter what. Okay? That's coming no matter what. Darwin has always made it clear that grant money is going to be applied to those streets. Okay? The preponderance, the supermajority of the citizens, okay, responded favorably to the assessing program to have the streets paved. Very few people in this neighborhood said, no, our streets desperately need paved.
That's not true.
But just, okay,
Continue
so the
commenting.
majority of people on North Shore, okay, want their street paved. The street is wrecked, it's coming up. Okay? That we're prepared to do that, the work's been done, the surveys have been done. So why are you excluding, why do you want to exclude that street when the people want it paved? The only street that more than 51% of the people did not want paved is Clare Street. That is the only street in this entire neighborhood where the majority of people asked to not have their street paved. So you made a motion to not pave my street because no one,
Because of the data that I see that the administration prepared, I see North Shore Drive, and only one has opted in on this list. I don't have any data from any residents
Mr.
that say
McCleary,
otherwise.
I have a question for you. When you do something like this and you ask 180 residents if they want their street paved, and 7 say they don't, how do you consider the response of the other 173 people?
That is up to the council to make that determination. They are your constituents.
So at the last meeting,
Are you
I stated
asking
that
me-
I would be considering every
Are you
non-voting person a yes. Okay, so I did not bring the posse here tonight to get the street paved.
Unreal.
Okay? Because I assumed this was just gonna be a matter of perhaps excluding Clare Street. But there's no money to be lost by this. The streets need paved. It's a mess. A mess.
Then what
Mr. Dandelides?
am I missing here then? Because if I heard you correctly, you said that the majority of the residents on North Shore want it paved,
Yes,
paved.
the
okay?
non-responsive residents are an affirmative vote. If you choose to
let
not
him
take a
keep-
negative
let him
vote on a
keep
position,
doing-
then by default,
Let
it's
him finish his
affirmative.
comment.
Don't confuse the people, George.
Mr. Dandelides?
I'm not confused. I'm not confused.
Please,
I'm not
let Mr.
confusing.
Dandelides.
Son of a.
I'm not confusing anybody. How do we take into consideration the non-respondent residents?
Darwin, I really think you're slipping up here. Okay, the non-respondent residents don't respond because when you want to approve something, you don't say anything, you just let it go.
How can I assume that?
Hold comments. We'll have time for public comments in a few moments.
If the data here is wrong, then let's get the correct data. But this is all we have.
Okay.
Ms. Mosier?
Don't approve.
All right, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. If the people don't want to send the information in, but verbally have spoken to other people, council members, I don't understand. This is 23 residents in this neighborhood. And to get the grant, Clare Street has to be, it looks, to get that initial grant, it has to be paved. when I lived in Beverly Hills, I didn't have a say in the matter. I didn't get to vote. It was done. I was assessed. Life goes on. I had several years to pay it, and everybody was happy because the road was done. I walk those streets, I trip on those streets, and they're dangerous. The DPW can only do so many patches. That area at Church Street and North Shore is a nightmare by the cemetery. There are holes, potholes, and you guys do a great job, Wes. I'm not saying anything about that, but bring that first snow plow through and it's gone. So, you know, the people that say that they don't think that the roads need to be repaved, I understand that's their opinion. But get out and walk the streets, trip a few times, look at how we have no curbs on the majority, and take a real good look at it. We're not asking for this to be paid all in one lump sum. But this is something that these roads, at least in this neighborhood and others, these roads are failed. They haven't been replaced. The patching, like I said, can only do so much. And I think by taking 23 people, if I were doing research and writing a thesis, this would not be a sample. I could not use this information because it's not a representative sample.
So I'm not arguing that roads are in poor conditions or not. What I'm arguing is that the last meeting we held a public hearing, we heard from different residents. We postponed action on this, asking residents to submit their feedback. We asked residents to tell their neighbors to submit feedback. We allowed them to submit feedback to the clerk's office, to the manager's office, to come back to this meeting to voice opinion, and we will hear from the public in a few moments, and we can add those to our tally here. But I don't have any other information to go on other than for people who have given their opinion yes or no. And there may be people out there that would like it paved, but they chose not to submit that opinion. And I can't just go on, you know, somebody saying, well, my neighbor wants it if their neighbor's not here. So I can only go on the people who chose to provide feedback to us as a council. And the feedback that I see here is that the majority on most of these streets do not want to opt into this paving program. And so I can't make I'm not going to force somebody, you know, force the whole street to do it when I don't have half the street saying they actually want it. Mr. Papachek.
Yeah, I tend to agree with most of what you're saying, Nancy. That we live on the same street. I've walked it plenty of times. It's rough. It needs it. And I don't think it's just the people up here that are saying it. If I remember right, was it a PASER study? Was that the right acronym? Mm-hmm. There are people documenting the state of the roads. And I want to say it was 90% of the roads were a 5 or less on a 10-point scale. Many of them were 2s. I mean, the roads are bad. To me, it's an obvious need. They don't last forever. We're at that 20-year point where it's time to do it. We've got grant money. I walked down, it was beautiful out today. I walked down North Shore today. I talked to at least 5 or 6 residents. And I'll be honest with you, 90% of the people have no idea this is even being talked about. That's why they're not voting. They don't even realize that this is coming on an agenda and that people are tallying votes. That's why we've only got a handful of people here from the few that are watching it or reading the paper that this is even coming up. So I like Nancy, I'd hate to make a determination here on a handful of people for each street, because the people, you know, we talk to the same neighbors. We all laugh at the nature of our street, and I've walked down plenty of other streets. It's, you know, the flooding, the cobbled, broken pavement or blacktop, it's rough shape. I think it's time, and I think most of the people I talk to, they're excited. You know, they ask, are we getting the new road? Are we getting the new road? Well, I don't think it occurs to them that they have to vote for the new road. I think they assume the new road is coming unless everybody comes out and says, no, we don't need a new road. So I took it as that. I didn't even put in my vote because I assumed we're doing it.
Mr. Camperoni.
I want to say something one time. I'm really confused. Y'all got me screwed up big time. Now, are we approving the original, what the engineer said, this is the worst roads? Okay, and they're gonna get a grant for that, these 3 streets. Okay, or are we trying to approve all the North Shore, that whole side of 24? That's what I want to know, because if we're just approving the original portion of it, those people are getting a pretty good deal because they got a grant money. These other people are not going to get crap. They're going to pay more money. But what are we approving? Are we approving the original things, or are we trying to decide if we're going to do the whole thing?
Well,
And these
right-
people get a good deal.
Just to clarify, right now, the motion on the floor is the original that you see in the red.
Right.
Now, council could choose to vote that down and create a new motion to broaden the scope. It's up to the council's prerogative, but right now,
Which we would lose money if we did that.
if
No.
we widen the scope, we would not lose any money.
Money under
Easy,
any
easy. I'll
circumstance.
bust you upside the head.
I'll bust
Easy.
Hey, listen,
No. I'm
The,
not listening. I'm not in my ear. I'm not gonna-
we would not lose the funding if we expanded the scope of the project. What we're weighing right now is whether or not the residents it would, in the expanded scope, would like to be included or not, and if we find that necessary based on the conditions of the road and what we're hearing from the residents, because if the residents are saying, no, we don't think it's necessary, then do we find it necessary? That's what we're considering.
They're all necessary, every one of them.
Mr. Ford?
Just in part because I think what I got from the last meeting was people came in and said, sure, we want our roads paved, but when they realized that they're going to be special assessed, they didn't. So everybody that we've talked to, I'm not sure they're getting the whole story all the time. Yes, I want my roads paved. Yes, they need it. Oh, you mean I have to pay for it? And then the answer changes. So they had an opportunity, we've delayed this, we had an opportunity. Like I said, I'm in favor of doing the red section because of the grant. We change those streets, we don't necessarily get that money. It's not guaranteed if we change the streets. We take Clare Street out of it. My understanding is that this doesn't work with the grant. So by voting for this motion, I'm looking to pave the area in red, the original proposal, and then not pave the rest of it. Anyway, that's all I have.
Mr. Lamb?
All right, you guys are doing this. All right, you guys are not doing the citizens a favor, okay? I went door to door on my street on North Shore. I talked to over 30 residents. I assured them that unless 51% of the people said no, we are going to get this street paved finally after all these years. And I know that others did too. So this bringing up now that you have to come in and vote yes to get it, that's not how it works. The people that don't want it come in and said no. The people that want it all told me they wanted it. Okay, I live on the longest street, and it is one of the worst streets. You don't even live in the neighborhood.
It's not public comment time.
So the people shouldn't be burdened to have to come here to vote yes for something that they want when they know they have public representatives, at least 3, who live on the street and in the neighborhood and who have spoken to them personally. The last time my street was paved, I personally paid for the entire street myself, including the neighbor's portion, out of my pocket, because the village at the time under Van Tassel wasn't going to pave it or do anything for me. All right? It's unconscionable. We're not going to get any money. We're not going to lose a dime. I tried to save the Clare people because they met the requirement. 51% of the street people did not want the street paved, so it doesn't get paved. In my mind, that's the rule. So why are you penalizing, you're going to force the people on the other street, on North Shore, to have a special paving project at a special cost? When the surveying, the preliminary study's done, all the surveying's been done, half the field work and estimates have been done, all they have to do is put the drawings together. When these people, I am telling you, these people, the majority of the people on North Shore want their street paved. Many of the other people in the neighborhood. And you decided, you live on the other side of town, and you decided because 5 residents on North Shore said they did not want the street paved, that you were doing somebody a favor? I don't think so. Paving roads is a favor Fixing water mains is a favor and a service we provide. Letting the stuff deteriorate and continue to deteriorate because 5 out of 180 said no is, I'm perplexed. I had no idea that the curve, this was going to come to us in a curve like this. We haven't even discussed this, going back to the project. The village manager said there were no future grants available coming to us, that they discontinued the program. He said in the future, the only money available to us are going to be Act 51 funds, which only provide for a little maintenance. There is no way we are going to escape this. You're just going to make it worse for the whole neighborhood because they're going to pay a lot more later, just like the sewer projects. So why are you doing it? I request you withdraw your motion and consider what the people want. I understand you're trying to help people and be supportive of a few people that complain, but you listen to the people who want something. They don't come here. They stay in their homes hoping you'll take care of them, hoping that someone here will take care of the citizens for once. So
I will not withdraw my motion because at the last meeting, we asked for people to bring their comments, whether they were for, whether they were against. And I only have what I can go on. There are 2 homes on North Shore represented up here, but I'm not going to just say, take their word for what everybody wants when I haven't heard that myself, because I don't want citizens coming and saying, well, you're just doing favors because of the people who are on the council, and you're doing them a favor when we don't have the feedback. And so I need the feedback in front of me, so I am going to keep my motion as it stands. So my motion is to proceed with, let me go back, to find the 2026 street improvement program necessary in its original form with the grant-funded area. That is my current motion. Mr. Dandelides.
So the question I would have is, we've asked for input, and
Please respect the other council members and listen. Thank
we
you.
asked for input, we got the input, it's in a table form here. You're asking us to make an assumption one way or the other, and we can't make this decision on assumptions. And I think we've gone above and beyond trying to solicit input. The process says we have a needs assessment public hearing. The purpose of that is to determine the need of the public. We had that public hearing. I think that's the reason you have it. We questioned the public hearing, and so we delayed the decision and went out and solicited again for more input. This is the input we got. So I don't know how you can ask me to assume anything. This is what I got.
Mr. Lamb.
Can I request we have 2 more weeks, and I will go out and get the 100 signatures to get my street paved so I can present to the council and get it done with this project.
I'm
And
going
that's a small request. I had no idea that this is what you wanted. I said at the last meeting publicly, I said that I believe that all the people that did not come in were voting yes. I told my constituents that, and now you want a paper study. I will be happy if you give me 2 weeks more, and I will go out and get the signatures required to over 51% of my people on my street want it paved. We want the street paved now. It is destroyed. If you give me 2 weeks, I only asked for 2 weeks. If the council can't give me 2 more weeks, I don't know why that's not a reasonable request based on the criteria that you have presented to me right now. You want a petition from the people, that's not what's in their charter. I will go get the signatures. They will come.
I'm going to let my motion stand because at the last council meeting, we said we were going to wait 2 weeks. And this shouldn't be a surprise because we said we were going to make a determination on the different streets based on the feedback that we got. And so to ask for another 2 weeks is the same thing we just did. So I'm going to let my motion stand. If council wants to vote that down, that's fine. But I'm going to let it stand as is. Mr. Papacek.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to understand this. There was a third party that came out and assessed the roads and said they're failing and need to be redone. and we're overriding that because we think 5 people don't want it. It makes no sense to me. I mean, honestly, come to North Shore and take a look. And if we don't do it now is when you do the whole neighborhood because you get the efficiencies. They're out here once, they do the whole thing, we bite the bullet, it's much cheaper. You know, we gotta do the whole thing at once to, you know, we kick it down the road. What if we never get 51% that say they do? Oh my, we're gonna have 80-year-old roads here crumbling into the lake. I mean, this is absurd. We gotta do the whole area.
Because the second piece of that answer is.
Please
you're
stop
not only
trying to
asking
solicit
them if
votes
they
on,
want
in
it done,
private over
but
there.
you're asking them if they're going to pay the assessment to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really it's a double-faceted question.
Right.
And yes, they may want it done, and maybe the data, maybe it would have suggested that, but the data doesn't say people want it done and they want to pay for it.
To me, the need was determined by the independent study. Roads need to be
Exactly,
done.
but that need didn't include, the second part of the question is, do they want to pay for it? Right? That assessment, the PASER study, didn't ask that question.
Yeah, there's nowhere near enough data for us to make that. 5 people. I mean, I can't even believe we're
So
trying to
when those
decide.
5 people get the assessment and come in here and say, you assessed me and the data said undeniably that we didn't want it, how do we answer that?
It's the ordinance. That's the way of the world. It's every 20 years, roads need to be
Excuse me, you have not been
redone.
recognized by the chair yet. Ms.
I just
Mosier.
have a couple more things. The PASER study we've done, we paid for, it was very clear, it sat, and nothing was done. Okay, so now we're attempting to do this. So yes, I agree, that was an objective, look at the streets, and we've already paid for that. Number 2 is, we don't even know how much. We don't have an estimate. We don't know what the assessment will be. We don't know how much, for how long. And people, I get it, people are scared because they don't want to necessarily agree because we don't have all the facts. So this, to me, is premature because we don't even have what the cost is going to be, nor how long we've talked 10 years, that has been thrown out there. But if someone said to me, you're gonna be assessed and you're gonna have to pay for it, one of our neighbors said, and are we gonna have to pay for it all in one lump sum? And it's like, I don't believe so. I think we're talking about spreading it up. So this is premature to make a decision on information that is not complete. Last time we had this talk, neighbors came up and they said, how much is it gonna cost? I don't know, we don't know. How many years is it gonna be paid on? We don't know. So how can we make a decision like this that is going to affect the majority of the population in this neighborhood without having all of the complete details? I think making the decision, like I said, is premature.
Yeah, we got to push it.
I mean, I really do. And like Eric said, some people don't watch these, they don't read the paper, they don't watch online, they don't even know. And so we're penalizing them because they don't know. Yes, like I said, we can let them know, we can tell them, but we can't hold their hand and have them do it and bring them up here. We can't do it, we can only encourage. So I think by making this decision, I think we are doing an extreme disservice for the majority of the residents in this area because of 23 people. That's it.
So I'm going to open it up for public comment.
I think there was a corrective factual issue. I'm so sorry that I got so emotional with you, but this came out of the blue. So I apologize if I was rude or discourteous in any way. This is the needs hearing. This is whether or not the roads need to be paved. If this is approved tonight, the needs for all the roads, Then the assessing process begins where they determine what the cost will be and what the assessment will be. The people will be able to come back en masse and say they don't want to pay for it. And then you can cancel the project. Or you can cancel part of the project. Okay? This is the needs here. The roads need paved. The Pacer study says they need paved. The people say they need paved. This isn't about the money tonight. It's about the needs. So once it's needed, then they do the work to determine what the costs are gonna be. And then the citizens come back. There's another public hearing. And you get to decide if you're gonna wanna pay. And then you get all your people together. That's how it's supposed to be. So you're not even gonna allow us to determine if whether we can afford it. That's what I'm complaining about. This isn't the cut or death of the project. This is the needs. And the facts are, the roads need paved. Our process, if we were with the county, the way the county works, they come in, if they get 51 of the people petitioned to pave the road, they'll pave it. If not, they go away. That's how they work. We have this weird system of needs in it. So tonight's vote is about the needs. So no, we don't need to just pave a portion. So on your motion, I'm gonna vote no. But then hopefully that won't pass and someone else will say, we're gonna vote that it's needed. And then once we decide it's needed, we could do the costs and everybody can come in here and you'll know if you're gonna pay $100 a foot or $5 a foot. And then you can really complain, raise hell. Let's do this properly, okay? Instead of just, we're out of step here.
We're going to open up for public comment. Remember, public comments are limited to 4 minutes as well. So if you would like to speak on this item, please. In the back, or it doesn't matter.
My name is Deanie Ansteff. I'm at 349 North Shore. I was at a meeting a month ago, and I knew there was issue with the roads, but I haven't heard anything since. I haven't got a letter. I haven't got a phone call. I haven't been told how much it would be. I have no information. So why could you sit up there and say you're scuffing it when we don't even know what we're getting?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Patterson, 65 North Shore. And, I agree. The North Shore does need, in spots, needs to be repaired. In front of my house, it's not much at all. But the top of the hill along where Church Street goes into North Shore is a disaster. In front of Michael's house, it's a disaster. There are spots along there that are bad. So, yeah, I'm all for it, but I have a distinct thing that I want to know how it's going to be done, because when it was done before Joanne Van Tassel got here, it was done very poorly. I've got a driveway or a garage that's sub-street level on it. I do have a French drain in there to allow drainage on it. I also built the driveway up an inch or so above so the water would run off. And so I wouldn't get the water down the driveway. So I just want to be sure that when it's done, that it's done properly, so that I don't wind up with all the water there is on North Shore coming down my driveway. Thank you.
I don't really know how you can say this comes out of the blue.
Please direct your comments to the chair.
To you?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand how he thinks this is coming out of the blue because we were here for the last meeting. I received a letter in the mail. I don't know if, I assumed everybody did in my neighborhood, so that's how I knew about it. I don't know why this is a surprise. So if people were interested or not interested, they were asked to give their input, right? And then even with the last meeting, then it was prolonged. People could still put input, right, for another week, I think it was. So the main thing, I think, people don't want to pay for it, right? We've gone round and round about the DDA funding. The money that they capture then prevents the village from maintaining infrastructure. We saw that with the water We see it with sidewalks, now we see it with the roads. So it's probably a bigger issue here on the tax dollars and how they're being used.
Thank you.
Uh, 302 North Shore, Ryan Curtis. I have to agree with Mike. I feel like once the machines are in progress, it's better to pave the whole village if we can. But the problem is the village has been horrible with the taxing on us and the way you spend the money and where the money's captured, especially with the new Mosheri developments. That is not going into keeping the sewer out of the lake, which I think that's the most important thing about Lake Orion. Out of everything, we don't have a good village if we have sewer in our lake. Those are the pumps. We are now experiencing extremely high water bills, which when you ask, when do our water bills come down? They don't, because the village has no growth. They use perpetual math, am I saying that right? Where they say it's, oh, well, if you do this, it's a lie. It's a politician's lie about using tax money. It's old as stones. I do agree we need to pave it, but North Shore is a dead end, and the village is only going to pay 10% of that, or it would be the what do you call it, only pays 10% of that, and then the rest comes out of the taxpayers' money. I think the taxpayers need to know what they're going to get, because in this village, you are taxing the lower income people out of the village, and then the people that still live on the lake that make a little bit of money, they shouldn't have to shell out continually more and more and more and more and more and more amounts of money for why we have signs going up and just waste of small money when we're dealing with a crumbling infrastructure in our little village. And I'm pretty pro-proponent on getting rid of the village and somehow going into Oakland Township, doing the whole city thing. I think it's time.
I love this guy.
Okay? Because as a taxpayer, we're kind of over it. And we have seen a lot of money go into the tax capture in the major taxable areas. And when you look around, people are moving in. Their tax rates are going up. So there's more and more tax money being absorbed, but what is it doing for the actual citizen of the infrastructure, the water, the lake? And that's the things we have to start talking about and actually make a future plan. 5 years, 10 years, because the way our water bills are now.
Remember to keep it on the comments towards the.
Right, well, the water bill has to do with a lot of it, because a lot of people are lazy these days. They don't come out and vote. They like to sit at home and complain. So if you guys don't go out and talk to the people on the streets, you're never really gonna know exactly how they feel, okay? Because they don't come out to vote. And in a small village, percentage math works in, and if certain people vote right and only certain people show up, you can change your world really fast with 1 or 2 votes. And that's how tax money gets wasted. So as a village, I've been paying taxes here for 20-something years. Grew up in this town, so I know it very well. I think we need to do the infrastructure building. We need to pave the roads, but it has to be done at a proper cost to the taxpayer. And now North Shore, Mike, you can talk like you've talked to everybody, but you haven't talked to me on North Shore, right? You drive by my house every day, so you were talking for my opinion.
Comments to the chair.
Yeah, sorry. Mike was talking for my opinion when he never even talked to me. And we know that it's going to cost us 90%. So what does that mean on my tax? North Shore is a horrible road. It's been a horrible road for years. Whoever did it before, the village mismanaged it. The bridge is kind of falling in. There's holes in that. None of the sewer lines work or the drains work down it. Some are buried in. I look up at a cemetery where they're all knocked over. It's horrible what happens in that poor little cemetery there.
That's 4 minutes.
Okay, well, I want to say this. I've watched the DDA do a cemetery tour in there every year, but yet I've never seen any money go into that cemetery.
It's been 4
to
minutes.
help
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Jim Barry, 85 Crescent Avenue in Bellevue. So I'm not from North Shore, but, just sitting back, and a couple of the people here, I think, spoke some of what I've been thinking for the last 30 minutes at least. You know, we can look around and we can see our sewers today, and we're going to spend $15 to $20 million to rebuild that infrastructure. And how is that cost being paid? I'm not being assessed. The whole village is cooperating. We're all sharing in the burden of sewers, which, again, don't support 100% of the village. The roads, to me, are the same way. We've neglected them, and now we're going to neglect them again. We've got a DPW director over here. You know, if the roads on a scale of 1 to 10 are 5 or below, you know, we need to fix those roads. I mean, our roads are crumbling on Bellevue, and I'm sure throughout the town they're the same way. But what we've got to do is somehow come up with a methodology to fund these infrastructure improvements. And as much as I hate paying the tax bills in this village, you know, I think that the roads are the same way. We have to spread it across the base. The DPW has to do his assessment, and based on priority of the roads that need to get fixed, 1, 2, 3, we spread it out over the next 5 years. Otherwise, we'll all be driving on dirt roads 10 years from now because nobody wants to pay. And, you know, I know North Shore and I know Bellevue, you know, you put it in our tax bills, we're going to pay the highest amount. But somehow we've got to come up with a methodology to keep this infrastructure in this village up to par with, again, the taxes that we are paying.
Thank you.
Joanne Patterson, 65 North Shore. We've been here a long time, over 25 years, and I look at the paper, do a lot of walking, people see me a lot, and I, for some reason, did not realize last week that it sort of made it sound like that it was just the middle streets. And then all of a sudden, you know, we were, what, you know, this was all going to happen now, all of a sudden, so quickly? And people then were talking, you know, oh, well, this middle street doesn't really need it, you know, and trying to pick and go whatever it is. But I really feel that, again, it's needed, it's going to have to be paid for. That's the way it goes. And we do have money, apparently. Not enough, I guess, but whatever it may be. And just want everyone to be safe. It's really what I care about.
Thank you.
Well, Donald Kindred, well, I think you need to get a vote from all of the people in that area, not just a couple here and there. You can't just go on 5 people when you've got a whole community that's standing here telling you this needs to be fixed. Now, if we walk out here to the dam and the dam's falling apart and the concrete's all falling all over and all the water starts going everywhere, it needs to be fixed. If this needs to be done, why is there even a question? Why are you people sitting here arguing amongst yourselves when you should be saying to the people, hey, we got to get out here and go door to door. We need to get out here and ask these people. We need to know what needs to be going on here. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done. Just like I keep saying, there's a river flowing under that parking lot that needs to be addressed. But nobody wants to do it because it's going to cost you money to fix it. This isn't a secret anymore. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done. People are tired of trying to argue over things that need fixing. Things that need to be addressed that keep getting covered up and pushed aside. We need to put the stuff on the table and get it done. One way or another, people. The citizens might not like to have to pay the taxes, but it still needs to be fixed. It needs to be addressed. It's not a question of this, that, or the other. You're going to find out how much money you got in your grant. You're going to let the people know what it's going to cost. You're going to tell them this is what we're going to have to do. It needs to be done. To sit here and argue over all of this, some people want dirt, some people want concrete. What's it doing to the structure of your infrastructure and your sewages? Your lake is going to be trash. Who's going to want to swim in that? If the sewer system is gone, what good is our community? Is anybody going to want to go in this lake? Is anybody going to want to go fishing around here to eat the food out of the lake? You know, everybody seems to want to say, we got to have this done, and we got to do this, and we got to do that, and this needs to be done here, this needs to be done there. But everybody wants to sit and argue over how it's going to get done and how much it's going to cost. While I'm sitting here listening to one man say, we got $8 million in a bank in Oxford. Why can't we fix this problem here? We got more money over here in this bank. Why can't we take and fix this? Our lumber yard still looks the same way it did 7 years ago when I moved here. What's wrong with this picture, people? Am I the only one that sees all of this? Are you seriously telling me that none of you see all this when all of these people and everybody else on the internet comes out and tells you what we need? And everything just keeps getting buried and covered up again. When's it gonna stop? When's it gonna stop? When are you gonna finally stand up and say, okay, this needs to be done, this is how we have to address it? Instead of trying to argue and bicker back and forth over a nickel and a dime here and there. Your building is falling apart, your infrastructure, your sewage systems, your roads are washing out. And
That's
you
4
don't
minutes,
even
thank
care. You don't even care.
Is there anyone else for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we have a motion on the floor, and that motion is to proceed with, to find the 2026 street improvement program necessary as presented in the original grant funded, or grant program area. I'll take a roll call on it.
Councilmember Danielidis?
So the motion is to find the 2026 street improvement program is necessary to the extent of the original grant program,
These are the red roads.
the red roads.
Yes.
Councilmember Papachek?
No.
Pro Tem Ford?
Yes.
President Rutt?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
No.
Councilmember Lamb?
No.
Councilmember Comparoni?
No.
Motion
Motion fails.
fails.
Council.
Fail.
Yeah, it failed, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Lamb.
I move to approve the, I gotta find it, exhausted. The recommended motion to find that the 2026 street improvement program as presented is necessary.
Second.
So we have a motion and support. Any other council comments? Mr. Danielidis.
So again, I'm going to restate that we've sent letters, we had a needs hearing. I'm looking at the Wednesday, March 25th Orion Review front page, many voice opposition to vehicle street improvement program. And if you go to page 20, it tells people that we allowed another 2 weeks and we're asking for input to be used at this meeting. And it very specifically says by email, by drop it off. It boggles my mind that this could be a surprise. So I'm looking at the data, I'm looking at the multiple solicitations for input, and the data clearly says that folks don't want it.
Mr. Papachek?
I still disagree. People don't read the newspaper every day. They haven't for years. Most people don't watch these. We're not assessing the people's needs here, And I don't think the people are, we're not hearing their voices. I hear it when I walk down the street. We're listening to experts from Pazer telling us the roads are failed. I mean, they got to be done at some point. I think now is the time, but to do it at a broader scale.
Any other comments?
Like I said, this is a vote on whether it needs to be done. It's not the final vote to approve the project. That comes at the next public hearing after the estimates. So I think we've heard enough people tonight saying that it needs to be done.
And I have one last thing, I've already said it twice. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So people don't read the paper, they don't watch this, and some people don't even know this is going on. Okay, I'm done.
Any other public comment on this new motion?
Well, I just wondered, didn't you mail it out to everybody? I got a letter in the mail.
No, no mail. No mail.
You guys didn't?
Never.
Okay.
So I would, connect with the administration that, and Mr. McLaren may address that later on, but I understand that mailings were mailed out to residents. I don't know, I don't have the list of addresses in front of me that they were mailed out to.
Letters were mailed out to all of the affected property owners.
Thank you. So we have a motion and we have support. Could I have a roll call on that, please?
Yes. President Rutt?
No.
Councilmember Danielidis?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford?
No.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Papachek?
Yes.
Councilmember Comparoni?
Yes.
Motion passes. There is a recommended motion number 2 as well.
What page, please?
On page 231.
Do you want me to make the motion? To direct the village manager to proceed to complete the design, bid, and contract specifications for the 2026 street improvement program based upon the bid results, prepare the cost estimates, and cause the proposed special assessment.
Michael, could you speak into the microphone, please?
Did you hear me, Darrell?
No.
Okay. The
Please
motion is
restate
to
it.
direct the village manager to proceed to complete the design, bid, and contract specifications for the 2026 street improvement program, and based upon the bid results, to prepare the cost estimates and cause the proposed special assessment roll to be prepared to be presented at public hearing to the people.
We have a motion and support. Other council comments? Public comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries. Item C, Marine Watercraft Ordinance Amendment, Adoption of the Michigan Marine Safety Act, second reading and adoption. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, administration is requesting that council give second reading to and adopt ordinance number 12.10, which amends the Marine Watercraft Ordinance to adopt by reference the Michigan Marine Safety Act. The adoption of this ordinance will align the village code with state law and enhance local enforcement capabilities. And you've been provided with a copy of the proposed ordinance. And if it's okay, Your Honor, I'll turn it over to the chief if he has any additional comments.
Please.
So 4 weeks ago now, we are aiming to adopt the Marine Safety Ordinance Act by reference, which this will allow our code enforcement and also our reserve officers that are properly trained on the waterways to enforce certain things such as life jackets and other things that are specifically identified in this code but are not in our village ordinance. It's a pretty common vehicle of enforcement, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you. I'll make the motion to give second reading to and adopt ordinance number 12.10 and an ordinance amending the Village of Lake Orion Code of Ordinances, Title 9, General Regulations, including Chapter 96, Parks and Recreation, Chapter 98, Watercraft and Marine Safety, and to direct the village clerk to publish the required public notice of the ordinance adoption.
Support.
Council comments? Any public comments?
I believe that's what we have a DNR and our sheriff for. They patrol that water. They check for the life jackets. They make sure everybody has their fishing licenses. They make sure they all have their permits. I don't know. This is more money that's going to cost our citizens, taxpayers, to put our officers on the water when we already have the sheriff and the DNR there. Something to think about.
Thank you.
We pay them to do that already.
Any other public comment?
I just have one. It's really hard to understand that people don't know safe water. It's just, all I can say is I just hope no one ever really has something bad happen. The way these boats are going back and forth and water's coming over people's houses, or not houses, I'm sorry, every seawall and all that kind of thing. It's just become just a mess. It's like going to, I think, Los Angeles or something where you can't move. And it's pretty bad out there. And again, I want everyone to be safe.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Berry.
Yes, I guess just a quick comment. As a member of the Lake Orion Wake Association, we support Mark and basically this amendment because we do believe it will allow us to do what we need to do. I don't see that it's going to be an increased cost to the village. It's just going to allow our officers that are out there on the Lake Orion police boats to do a better job of enforcing and having the authority to do what's necessary relative to whatever it be, speed or life jackets, et cetera.
Thank you. All right, we have Mr. Babchick.
Yeah, I should have mentioned this because it's come up in conversations with neighbors, and it might be too late to change it now, but maybe something for future consideration. It has to do with the safety on the wake restrictions, and I believe it's an hour, is it an hour before sunset and an hour after sunset? So an hour after sunset, you can go, full wake speed. And it crosses people's minds that is it a safety concern, right? We see the wakeboarders out there, the wakeboarder goes down, his head's sticking above the water, it's 50 minutes after sunset. Does everyone else see his head in the water there? It's like you said, you'd hate for something bad to happen. If people think that's a safety concern, I would plead to people to be safe when they're going full speed an hour after sunset.
It's after dusk. After dusk, so you got to define what dusk is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in response to that comment, so we're all clear, the wake restrictions and the other waterway, all of that regulation is through the state of Michigan.
Okay.
The council in our village, we only have the authority to create legislation for the shoreline for that. So all waterway is through the state. Now, part of this adopting by reference is that we will adopt the state code. So as the state code changes, we will change with it. And we also already have the administrative code, which specifically addresses the wakeboard restrictions in the hour before and hour after. That is already adopted and continues to be adopted in this particular ordinance. But we have no authority to change that. That is the state of Michigan.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comments? We have a motion and support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, final recommendations from CIP Alternative Funding Study Ad Hoc Committee. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, you're scheduled to consider accepting and approving the final recommendations from the Council CIP Alternative Funding Study Ad Hoc Committee. The committee has completed its work and has made the following recommendations: to switch from quarterly to monthly water and sewer utility billing, starting the billing for fiscal year 2026-27, which starts monthly billing in the month of August for July's bill. Second, to have the DDA provide an attorney-authored opinion to the village manager within 14 days, supporting the previous memorandum of the director regarding the ability to use 75-25 funds without a TIF plan amendment. My understanding is that you have received that information tonight. And third, to implement the proposal presented by the village manager dated March 31st, which includes utilizing $960,000 from the water and sewer fund reserves and $1.75 million in grant reimbursement for the sanitary sewer pump station project, with the corresponding anticipated water and sewer rate adjustments outlined in my memo, and a recommended bond issuance of an estimated amount of $8,126,000.
Thank you, Mr. McCleary. I'll make the first motion to authorize village administration to transition from quarterly water and sewer billings to monthly billings for all customers, with the first monthly bill to go out in August for the July 26 utility bill.
Support.
So I was on that committee, and some of the comments that came out of that, it will allow I know we've talked about this before, but it allows customers to budget a little bit more effectively when you're getting a quarterly bill. It is not trying to hide any type of water increase or rates, but allowing our customers to budget more easily on a monthly basis. Most people budget on a monthly basis versus a quarterly basis. It'll also allow you to catch, any water leaks in a more timely fashion. Or also, I know we recently had someone who hadn't received a bill in a couple months, and they were like, well, I thought, I just didn't see it in the mail. And you'll catch those types of things sooner, or be triggered to oh yeah, it's time to pay my monthly bills. Oh, for some reason, the post office didn't deliver my monthly bill, let me go up and check. Quarterly bills, it's harder to remember those all the time. So our recommendation was to switch to monthly billing starting in August. Yeah, Ms. Mosher.
At first, I wasn't really for this, but then I rethought it, and I really do like the new full page, way better than those stupid little cards, because that's why they got lost in the mail. It's like postcards, did you get my postcard? Nope. So I am in favor now, and I'm just gonna miss seeing exactly how much my water went up in the 3 months. Because it's all there right now. But anyway.
Add the 3 together.
Yeah, there you go. But I do think people will be able to budget better, and also it won't get as much lost in the mail as much. And also, like you said, Teresa, that if you don't get it, then you can take care of it right away.
Mr. Pepchek.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to when we hear a lot of people talking about the water bills is people feel a little bit like they're blindsided, right? Here comes this big bill in the mail, it's bigger than last time, it keeps going up, and I don't think people like surprises, right? We're all trying to budget and get our monthly budgets in line, so yeah, and in fact, I brought my water bill. I got it a few days ago, $610, right? So, it's one of those I think about, okay, $200 a month, right? $600 for the quarter, and it's probably, I don't know, 110 sewer, 70 water, 20 garbage. I don't know what the mix is if I look at a monthly breakdown of that. So maybe it helps to budget. We're all kind of used to monthly cycles for most of our bills, and then the sticker shock isn't as big when you get the big 600, and they might be going up more. But I think the trade-off, which was probably talked about, is it's a little bit more of an administrative burden too. So just realize that it'll take extra hours, effort, staff to do all of this work. But yeah, I tend to agree with the liking of the monthly billing.
Mr. Camperoni.
Okay, for me, I support it, but I would also like to see something happen maybe for the first 3 months where you waive some late fees or something like that until people really get accustomed to it, and now they're going to receive it. Some people won't know. They won't know until they open their mail. So I think we maybe should put something in there, just kind of waiving some of the 1 or 2 late fees. Would be but I'm all for the monthly deal.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb?
You know, in our goals and objectives, we talked about transparency, so I'm going to be transparent. I've often thought that going to the monthly bills was a means to hide, you know, the huge increases, you know, to the citizens and dilute them. And I still lean that way because I'm kind of a conspiracy kind of guy. So I just wanted to point out some of the relevant facts. I was also on the committee, and on this particular motion, your sewer bills are estimated to go up $100 a quarter, and with the new monthly bill, and it'll be about $30 a month or so. So I just want to get into, the bills are going up to make sure you don't forget. The bills are going to go up, but, and I talked to a few people, and a lot of people think that they would rather take that a month at a time. And I looked at the cost of mailing and stuff, and they're getting a new folding machine. And apparently you can pay your bills online, so you don't have to pay for the extra check and stamp. It costs over $1 now for a check, and then a stamp is, I don't even know, I got a lot of money. So that's, 12 times, that's another $24 a month. I keep track of that. So I'm going to support this because I think most people would want the monthly bills.
And just to reiterate, I appreciate Mr. Lamb pointing out, you can switch to e-billing if you would like. If you don't want paper mailings, you can always switch to e-billings and have those land in your inbox. That is something that we offer. And I'm assuming that village administration in the newsletter and the July bill will make it clear, maybe on the front page, that we're switching to the monthly billing, and I'm sure it'll be written about in the Orion Review as well, for those who do read it. Public comments, yes.
Hank Laurent, 218 South Broadway. After listening to all the people that never got notices for something else, I think this new water bill and an insert that you're going to get every month should really help us communicate better with the entire village.
Thank you.
349 North Shore. Why can't we have an automatic payment like we do our electric bills, our gas bills, where we don't have to deal with it at all? It's automatic.
Yeah.
We do.
We don't.
We do have that option.
I've asked for it, and they can't give it to me.
Contact the
It's actually, when you log into BSNA, it's in that. We cannot set it up, no, but the resident has to set it up. When they go to pay their bill and they create their account.
I've
you
asked
can
it
set
up at the offices. And
We can't set it up in the office for you. You have to log in when you go to pay your bill. You have to create a username and a password. You can't do, I don't think you can do it through
so
guest
you're
pay.
making it complicated for us.
You're already paying your bill online, just creating a username
No,
and
I'm not.
password.
I go up to the office.
Call our office, we will help you.
What office?
The village office. Call up the village
Village
office. Yes.
Call us, we will help step you through it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no other public comment, we have a motion and support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have a second motion on this item as well, and so I'll make it so we can discuss. To authorize the village administration to utilize $960,000 from the Water and Sewer Fund reserves and the $1.75 million grant reimbursement proceeds from the Phase 1 sanitary sewer pump stations improvement project, and to plan and prepare for a revenue bond issuance in the estimated amount of $8,126,000 to fund the estimated $10,835,922 in Phases 2 and 3 sanitary sewer pump station improvements. So my comments on this, so part of this subcommittee, we looked at what are the different funding sources we can use for the sewer lift stations to try to minimize the impact on residents' sewer bills. And we do have money in the sewer fund reserves. We should keep a portion of that in there in case, emergencies or rollover, or, as funds come in and out. But the subcommittee chose to recommend to allocate just shy of $1 million in that fund to apply towards the sewer lift station project to help bring that cost down. And then the $1.75 million grant was what we were allocated from the federal government towards Phase 1, but we bonded that up front, and so this will be applied towards this next phase 2 and 3, which we will be doing together instead of separately. Part of it is for cost, part of it is, I think, what Water Resources Commission wants us to move a little bit more quickly on these projects as well and get it all done. And so we plan on doing that. Now, this council will have to make a decision on when, so as Mr. Lamb said, there will have to be increases because we still are bonding $8.1 million for the sewers lift stations. Those payments will hit in part earlier next year, in part later next year, and this council will have to make a determination in our budget workshops if we want to raise the water bills in one big chunk this year, wait till next year, or do it as a two-step thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there. The total amount with using the $960,000 and the $1.75 million was, if I'm remembering correct, Wes, it was $93 a quarter for the average user. Now, this is just taking the average user of the system. It was in the 90s. We came down from 113 to in the 90s with the application of the $960,000 from the Water and Sewer Fund reserves. So that will come, to be transparent. There will be an increase, but we are doing it all at once instead of phasing it out, phase 2 and phase 3, and we're using some of those funds from the reserves to help bring that number down a little bit more. Mr. Lamb.
Mr. Santa, how many sewer users do we have now?
Sanitary sewer?
Yeah, approximately. Billable, how many billable water customers do we have within?
12, around 1288.
1288, all right, times 1288-ish. All right, so that works out. So 1288 customers, average annual payment per customer rate increase, $400 sewer rate increase per year. So each customer pays an average of $400 a year increase, because the estimate was $100 a quarter, right? So anyway, so you could, whatever, 380, I'm gonna use 400. So each home is gonna go up $400 a year, times the number of users, that's $515,000 a year. So the bond payment on the $8 million bond is going to be like $515,000 a year?
I don't have it right in front of me, but some of those customers are commercial.
I know, I mean the average, we're talking about a generalized average, I'm not gonna pick you apart, I'm just trying to get some validation for the number of customers, the dollar amount. So I'm proposing, Darwin, what's the estimated payment on the $8 million bond?
I think it was, we worked on several scenarios, but it was between 570-some thousand and 680,000.
Okay, so.
Those numbers stand out.
So basically
So somewhere in
the
between.
water rate increase is to pay for the bonds. Okay, I just want to be clear, we have the numbers, they can be in the newspaper or whatever. Second, since I was on the committee, I noticed that the only proposal they came up with to pay for your sewer bills is to take some money out of the existing sewer and water fund that you've already paid into, $1 million, or $960,000. And they're gonna apply that from the sewer fund. So the $960,000 they're taking is money that would normally be set aside for if something happened, all right? So we're getting rid of the majority of it. There'll be no reserves at all in the sewer and water fund. We're stripping it for all intents and purposes. They weren't able, they got a $1.75 million grant. I think we applied for that grant 3 years ago, and that was for phase 1, and the money is just now showing up for that. The grant for this year was completely denied. Okay? There's no free money coming. It was denied. And so we're not getting any more free money. Now maybe, they said maybe next year we can reapply for another grant. But, you know me, I don't count on free money. I love free money, but, okay. So no free money's coming. So other than that, so the committee did not come up with any other places to get money. If you look at the agenda item, it said they were gonna look at different places to get money, like from the general budget, from the general fund, from the DDA. But the committee was not able to come up with any other sources of money to pay towards the sewer bills. I, of course, have other sources. Okay, so I don't agree with the recommendation of the committee. since this is all that's being offered, I'm going to vote to approve to take the $960,000 from the sewer fund and use it to cut the bond out. You know, why wouldn't I? And then the free money, the 1.75 million, you know, thank God that we asked for that 3 years ago. So I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm glad that you guys can all afford the sewer water bills. It's going to make it really nice for the lake that the sewage isn't going to go in the lake. That's great. So I do appreciate that.
Mr. Papachek?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to echo some of that sentiment. I read through the meeting minutes. I remember seeing pretty clearly up front the goal was to fund the phases 2 and 3 with no additional costs to our water bills. That we failed in the goal. The committee failed in the goal. I don't know how, you know, we had a goal, we didn't meet it. They didn't meet it on the committee. It's unfortunate. Everyone's bills are going up again. But the frustrating part is, as I read through the meeting notes, to Mr. Lamb's point, I didn't get the sense that even looking at the TIF map and redrawing it was on the table or discussed. And that's too bad. Not to say it had to go that route, but to not exhaust that as an opportunity to save the residents $400 a year, that was a little bit of a letdown. So I think, too, the committee did what they did. I'll be left with another $400 bill each year, but that's the way it is. We'll enjoy our premium water and sewer systems in the village.
Mr. Dandelides?
Okay, so the increase that you're talking about, the $400, okay, it was way, way higher than that where we started and where we anticipated going. So it's very easy to throw out, we only got to a $400 increase. Our expectation was much higher than that. And the numbers that both Wes and Darwin put together between utilizing these funds and the anticipated additional users, okay, significantly reduced what we were anticipating our water and sewer rates to go up. Mm-hmm. So from that perspective, it's a win, okay? Now I share with you that we did not get the zero, okay? And I shared that sentiment in the committee. I was a member of the committee also, okay? And I shared that at the committee. But what we said we were going to do was we were going to address that in our budget sessions, okay? So tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we have our first budget session, and I look forward to all of the comments and all of the ideas to get after the budget and come up with additional dollars to put towards this, okay? So we've all got an obligation to come in starting tomorrow at 4 o'clock and seriously look at the budget, okay? So if we want to go after that additional $400, that's where we need to do it, or that's where we need to start. So I look forward to your help on that. Mm-hmm.
Other council comments? Public comments? Oh, did you have one, Mr. Kemper?
No, I just want to correct George, it's not tomorrow, it's Wednesday.
I'm sorry? Sorry, I'm gangbusters. I'm coming tomorrow.
Anytime we prove George wrong, it's one for me.
All right, public comments, thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, members of council. Matthew Gibb, DDA Director. We were likewise on the committee. Mr. Dandelides acted as a great chair of that small but very productive committee. Just for some clarification for the public, maybe I should wait. I don't know. From the DDA's perspective, shrinking the TIF. One is we did address it pretty substantially within the committee. We've addressed this now every council meeting for the 2+ years that I've been involved with the DDA. We'll address it some more tonight in a later agenda item. As far as the DDA, the 75-25 that all of you are familiar with, and the public maybe not, is we're contributing towards this. In the current budget forecast, I'm forecasting $215,000 to $236,000 additional dollars on the next annual payment. When combined with what we've already been giving, we're going to be approaching $500,000 in the first 3 years. That goes directly into a capital improvement fund. I would remind everyone, the public included, that the DDA was formed by Harry Stevens, the former village president, who used to be a huge advocate for it because he paid for all the water and sewer infrastructure. The DDA likewise is committed for that. We're committed to the monies we're going to give in the CIP. we take on the challenge. It might be a motion, I don't know if it's going to be included in this agenda item, to make sure that our independent legal counsel is confirming that you all can use that for as much water and sewer within the district as you can. So we're replenishing the fund that Mr. Lamb is saying is being depleted quite rapidly. So the next round of things, remember, water and sewer gets dispersed over all rate users. It doesn't get just in the district or out of the district or a TIF or a non-TIF. All those dollars will get paid at some point. We're replenishing that fund, so the next round of water improvements particularly that are going to happen within the village of Lake Orion will have a lump sum of money towards it. The DDA is contributing, as it's done to the tune of more than $20 million over the life of the DDA. And so we're very pleased with the outcome of it. We are committed to our obligations to the village. Our budget, to your point, Mr. Dandelides, coming forward, we're committing right now $886,000 directly to the village. I don't know how much more we could contribute. That's more than 80% of our total operating budget that we're anticipating for the year between the debt service. Some would argue, well, it's the bond debt. It's not ours, it's yours. We're just facilitating the project. So we're paying that. We're paying for police. We're paying for DPW. In this case, to the point of the motion, we are committed to continuing to tribute. Every year, this will increase by hundreds of thousands of dollars eventually. And if you push it out over the life of it, Mr. Dandelides had an excellent chart not too long ago. The DDA will start to flatline in its position, and the Village Capital Improvement Fund will grow exponentially in the future. We're committed to that. So I really hope that the public doesn't get an impression that if we redraw a line somehow, that there's magically going to be 36 more cents in their discount on their bill. Last thing I would say is this. Michigan now has fell to 40th for per capita income. We're behind Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana as the poorest states in the country. Our job market now exceeds 6% of realized unemployment. Our job participation rate is below 60%, the lowest it's been in the last 85 years in the state of Michigan. If you don't think these things are having an impact, and all it is the DDA should contribute more, I believe we are. Remember, to the gentleman that said we don't do anything for the cemetery, the DDA is the one that put the fence up and all the security on that cemetery and the one that has cleaned it for years and years.
Remember
with
to keep it on the
partnership with
motion.
our DPW. So we're grateful for the opportunity. Thanks.
Other public comments on the motion to authorize the administration to utilize $960,000 from the water and sewer fund reserves and the $1.75 million grant reimbursement proceeds towards the sewer system? All right, we have a motion and support. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dandelides?
Yes.
President Rutt?
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford?
Yes.
Councilmember Camperoni?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Papachak?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item E, Greens Park and Boat Dock Pass Fees. Mr. McCleary.
Excuse me. Your Honor, members of council, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee is recommending that you increase park day pass fees from $2 to $3 and seasonal pass fee from $25 to $30. They're recommending no increase in the boat dock passes. And you've been provided with a proposed resolution that would accomplish these fee increases.
Thank you. Council. Mr. Dandelides.
So the one comment that I would make, and I would propose revising the motion. When I read the resolution, I think it's a resolution, it refers to lifeguards. And I believe that lifeguards is going to be one of the things that we'll be talking about in our upcoming budget discussions. So my recommendation would be that we approve the resolution, but with the removal of reference to lifeguards until we've gotten through the budget discussions this year and have determined whether or not we'll have lifeguards.
We have a motion. Do we have support? Seeing no support, the motion does not continue. Mr. Lamb.
Yes. Since we did a little talk before the motion, I'm going to give a little talk before the motion. We have a fee schedule that we approve every year, and I think it's inappropriate to address this fee when we address the rest of the review the fee schedule for the rest of the year. So my motion is to set this aside until we address, like, in the budget process, I forget exactly where we look at the fee schedules at the budget process?
In May and June, we address the fee schedule. The reason why we always address this separately is because of the timing, especially for the boat dock passes. Now, we're not recommending any changes this year, but that's why we do this separately, and we do it early in the year because of timing.
Well, I'd amend my motion to, I don't want to approve any park fee increases. Actually, I'm hoping to get rid of the park fees completely, so I'm willing to approve the boat dock pass fee at this time because it's a seasonal proprietary thing. So my motion is just going to be to approve the boat dock pass fee increase from $50 to $75.
That's not an increase, just a continuation of last year's.
Oh, it is? Wait, it says
Yeah.
it was increased. Oh, I'm
In
sorry.
2023.
Oh, then I move to just continue the existing fee structure at the park at this time.
The docks or the whole park?
The whole thing.
The whole.
We can raise it, we can raise it next year for the passes.
There's a motion, is there support?
Say that again.
The motion is not to raise the fees.
The motion is to adopt the same resolution as last year, establishing the same fees as last year's, which would be $75 for the boat docks, $2 per person, and $25 for an annual fee, if memory serves me correctly.
I would support that. I support it.
Okay, so we have a motion and support. Council comments? Public comments? Support.
Rosemary Ford, 225 North Broadway. As most of you know, I am the chairperson of Parks and Rec, and I just want to express this to you so that you understand. We were approached that we needed to give this input so that you could determine that decision tonight. We know that you're all looking at different things, but the bottom line was you said, we need input from the Parks and Rec, so this is what we did. So it's not whether you want to eliminate it or not. You asked for feedback, we gave it, and just so that all of you are aware, just as you have, we had to have a special meeting on this, which was last Wednesday, because that isn't our normal meeting time, in order to get the decision and the information to you. So I just want to clarify that we just didn't come up with this. We were asked to give our input, and that was the decision that was made. And not all were able to attend because this meeting was short notice, as they wanted the information by this Monday to give to you. So I just want you to understand, we gave based on what it is thus far. And so we were trying to comply so that we would have the information to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Other public comments? So we have a motion, and the motion is to maintain the same fee structure as the previous season, which is $75 for the boat dock pass, $2 for an individual pass, and $25 for a family pass, with no other changes as well. Do we need a roll call for that?
We can.
Let's do roll call.
Councilmember Papachek.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean Delitis.
No.
President Rudd.
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford.
No.
Councilmember Mosher.
Yes.
Councilmember Comparoni.
Yes.
Councilmember Liam.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item F, request for recommendation from village manager on combination of DDA Board with Planning Commission, requested by Councilmember Papachek. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, Councilmember Papachek did submit this request. If it's okay with you, Your Honor, it may be appropriate to turn this over to Councilmember Papachek for more
Thank you.
input.
Mr. Papachek.
Yeah, thanks. The moment we've all been waiting for, I think, tonight, right? All right, I'll try to keep it brief. I'll summarize. My emails were in the packet. Everyone can probably has read it and thought about it. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I think a couple meetings ago, Councilman Ford made a really good point, right? He said, we can all sit up here and complain about the problems, or we can be solution-oriented and trying to find fixes to what we see are the problems. So what I've outlined in terms of trying to be solution-oriented to the problem that goes back from what I've seen over a year before I was on council, because I know this has come up many times. I think it was last February, March of 2025, we asked for opinion from Village Manager McCleary, and it was very clear. It said, communication between the village and the DDA is weak. The connection isn't as strong as it should be. I take that, and from what I've seen and being involved now a little more heavily the last 6 months, I don't think it's gotten much better in the last year. There's friction between the two boards. What I'm trying to solve for here is eliminating that friction, and I don't think that it's necessarily a people issue. I think it's more of a structural issue. So what I'd like to get is a little bit more opinion and background on revising the structure to remove the friction. This is what I'd like to see, because the way I see it, we have one group, the Planning Commission, that plans. We have another group that executes, right? And I watched the DDA meeting last time or a couple times ago, and people are pointing to all this discord. There's bickering about electrical, who's plowing what and doing it. There's the lumberyard oversight that gets brought up over and over again. Is it the most efficient spend of funds? Why is it taking so long? I think a lot of this has to do with the structural setup and the friction that's inherent to that setup. So this is what I see is bringing it together and consolidating. I think it's the smallest change we can do to fix the biggest problem. You know, we're going to be all forced to be one family, potentially, and not saying I don't plan to go there tonight, but I think what this achieves is shared planning, shared priorities, shared timelines, right? Shared project management, shared accountability, right? We're all in this together. We all want it to succeed. We all want to work better together and eliminate this friction. And after a year of seeing this spinning wheels, costs escalating, I think this helps get us there. But what I'd like to do first is see if we can ask the village manager for a well-informed opinion here, because I do believe he's got more expertise than I do and than most of us here when it comes to these issues. So I'd like to, I know there was an opinion sent a little over a year ago, but I think things have changed, or maybe not changed enough, and I think given the current climate and where we've been over the last year, I'd like to revisit that and then maybe bring that forward. So that's my idea, to try to be succinct. People can spit on it. It's easy to spit on someone's idea and reject it. So it's an idea. It's a way to try to make things better. So with that, I guess the motion is to see if we can agree to at least have Village Manager McCleary come back with an updated or revised opinion on, is this something we should pursue, you know, pros and cons. I know it's change, and change is hard, and we might not like things, but is it in the best interest for the village to align this better than it's working today? And I think what it's going to come down to is people don't like reporting into certain people, or some people want to put the DDA first, and I get it, that's fine. We all love the DDA. Everyone wants success for the DDA, but I'm up here to put the residents first, and I think this gets us to residents first alignment. It still comes down to alignment and this structure. But again, no motion on that tonight. The motion is really just for opinion and a little bit more in-depth discussion.
Are you making a formal motion?
Yes, to direct Village Manager McCleary to update his point of view perspective on pros and cons of this, if it would work. I think we know how it could work. And then I guess maybe come back, I don't know if it's a couple weeks or 4 weeks to revisit, and then maybe talk as council if that's something with our experts' opinion that we want to pursue.
Is there support?
Support.
Other council comments? Mr. Comparoni?
I'm on a roll tonight, aren't I? So, El, you know, like I said, nobody likes change, you know, and the first place you have to start change is that guy in the mirror. You gotta change that first, which would mean everybody's thoughts. I really would like to put this to bed. I'm sick of hearing it. For 2 years now, it's all we heard. It's all we heard. And I'm only hearing one side most of the time. I'd really like to hear both sides. But yeah, I'm all for this, for another review from Darwin. We'll see what it says. If it's the same as last time, then I'm going to try to get this can gone and just kick it down the road forever. But that's just my thought. But yeah, change is tough. It's really tough.
Mr. Ford?
Well, reading through the information that we have, I guess your motion was to update. You said change his, and it may not change.
Right.
I'm not looking for him to change things, and if it comes back what I see here, we're going to keep it the way it is. And I think to Alex's point about seeing both sides, it is very important to see both sides. And I'm looking right now at some of the responses to the previous request that people want to see a change in, and I don't see how this is going to change. I like what I see here as far as defending the two bodies, keeping them separate. There's just, the more eyes we have to look at a project, I think the better. We consolidate the two, we're having fewer eyes looking at things. And I like to have as many people looking at DDA things and projects and planning, and I think we, blending them, I don't think is going to work. So I appreciate what's already in front of us, which would then service Mr. Camparoni's thing, we'd be done. Thank you.
Mr. Danielides?
So roughly a year ago, we wrestled with this same question. And I believe at that time, we probably had about a 4-3 vote that yes, we were going to get this opinion. And at that time, we approved a motion to ask both the DDA director and the village manager to get together and come back to council with a recommendation. They took several weeks to come back with those recommendations, and they came to a consensus that we leave the structure the way it is, and they both presented their own memorandums supporting that. In my mind, nothing has changed, and to continue to bring this up because we didn't like the answer we got last time, to me is kind of a waste of time. I believe that we are in the middle of a very complicated and important project, the lumberyard, and to change horses, to change the structure, to change the accountability, to change the reporting relationship, now is not the time to do that. We need to focus, we all need to focus on getting the lumberyard done and executing it to the best we can. And I think throwing a monkey wrench in the middle of it, I just don't think makes any sense. And I believe that we've ferreted this out better than a year ago. And quite honestly, so the request or the recommendation came back, and the decision to accept the recommendation and not make a change was unanimous at council. None of us suggested that we make that change. We accepted that recommendation. And I just don't understand now why we want to revisit that with, in my mind, nothing has changed. Now, I will tell you that I do believe that there's some, I'm not sure the word that Eric used, but there's some friction between the DDA and the village, and I think we need to address that. I don't think changing the organizational structure is the way to do it. I do have a recommendation on how to address that I would like to present a motion on, and I guess I'll do that after we vote on this one. But I do believe we have an issue. And I think we see it sometimes in some of our meetings and some of the back and forth. I think that does need to be addressed, but I don't think that needs to be addressed as a major shakeup in the organization.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes, my understanding of the motion that it's a request to the village manager to look at the current situation in the past year's issues. And yes, so I think that's a good motion, and it's not asking for change, and it's just asking to have them take another look at it. And so in order to keep us from being here all night, I am going to call the question so that we can just decide that simple question: do we want the village manager to look at it again? So I'm calling the question, and so we get to vote now.
The motion to call the question requires a 2/3 vote, so roll call, please.
Councilmember Mosher.
Yes.
Councilmember Dendelitis.
No.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Comparoni.
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford.
No.
President Rutt.
No.
Councilmember Papachek.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. It's a 4-3 vote.
So motion
Motion
fails.
fails.
Discussion can continue on this item. So I think my comments echo a lot of what Mr. Dendelitis said, and that I think it's not a wise use of administration resources. We're in the middle of budget season. We're in the middle of a lot of different things, and to ask our manager to go back and relook at everything when he's already issued an opinion on this just a year ago, things have not changed substantially since then. You know, issues that were issues then are the same issues that are issues now. I think if communication is a goal, then, you know, continuing to show up at each other's meetings is an important priority. If we don't show up at each other's meetings, if we're not in dialogue with each other at meetings, then that's, you know, on us here as a council. And so I am going to vote no because, you know, in my opinion, I heard Mr. Comparoni say, you know, let's just put this to bed, and I thought we did last year when we got the update or the memo from our village manager in conjunction with our DDA director, and I'm not willing to request our village administration to continue to use more time resources to update an opinion that he's already issued, especially with all the other things that we have going on. Mr. Papachek.
Yeah, I don't think this is a really heavy lift. I wouldn't expect this to be hours and hours of time, but just as a reminder, I wasn't on that last council that decided this. And I think the point is, in the last year, I don't think things have materially changed. I saw the DDA, or not I saw the Supervisor Barnett pointing to, you know, at the DDA meeting that things aren't working. I think things are getting worse, and we keep talking about what I would call soft fixes. Let's meet a little more, let's talk a little. This is a hard structural fix that I think fixes the problem. And we don't have to go on it tonight, but it's just to get the opinion was all I was after, was have things changed enough from our expert village manager's viewpoint that maybe now that opinion has changed. That's it.
Mr. Comparoni?
Yeah, one more thing. You know, we keep talking about the change, and I was always taught, if you're doing the things the same way you've been doing them for 5 years, you're doing it wrong, because you have to progress. You have to keep improving. And for this, from what I'm reading, we've been doing the same thing for 5 years, having the same conversation. I think it's time to kick back and really dig into this. We need to start someplace. We need to change something. I wish I had the solutions. I'd snap my fingers and make it happen. Something has to happen. because you can't stay stagnant for more than 5 years at a time.
Ms. Mosier?
I totally agree with you, Alex. I was going to save this for my comments, but the real problem with this council has been for 20 years, there is no change. Nothing changes. It's the same. So, you know, the roads, we did nothing. The sewers, nothing. This, with the DDA and the Planning Commission, nothing. Not everyone, but some of us want absolutely no change. And I agree with Alex, if nothing has changed in 5 years, I mean, you have to look at it. It's, whenever you have a job, typically, I know for me, I had to come up with a goal every year, and there had to be something that changed. And it could be small, it could be something big, but change is the way it has to happen. You have to have change in everything. And if everybody puts their another horse thing, blinders on, then, and not want to change anything, it's wrong, it's sad, and you're not moving forward. And we have not moved forward as a council forever. So I'm all for change, it's a part of life, and at least to look at it.
Mr. Danielides?
So you know what, if we want to have change, why don't we change the way we approach things? Why don't we rally around the DDA and support the DDA? Why don't we go to DDA meetings? Why don't we participate in DDA functions? Why don't we come downtown and participate in the things that are going on downtown? So if we really want to do change, maybe that's the kind of change we ought to have, instead of sitting back and throwing stones at the DDA. I don't see a lot of volunteers. There's a whole lot of volunteering going on with the functions of the DDA, and I see very few of us participating in that. So if we want to do change, why don't we get involved instead of just heckling?
I'm not saying anything about the DDA. The DDA is important, the DDA is doing a great service. What I'm saying is having two separate entities, it's sort of like the roads. You know, we need to look at, is it needed? Is there something that can be different that can maybe make it better? So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything negative about the DDA. And I guess I get tired of people telling me that I am, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, why can't we look at some other alternatives? So have a little bit of an open mind, maybe. Some of us don't.
Other council comments? Public comments?
Madam President, members of council, Matthew Gibb, DDA Director. It's very laudable to say that we need to have better collaborative effort. The mechanism is not possible. As much as we would want to maybe will it as a council, I mean, all of you might vote for it, from a legal perspective, it's not possible. So you cannot merge the DDA function as a board because it's an existing structure created by statute. You can't merge it into the Planning Commission. And even if you could, the Planning Commission does not have the statutory authority to do any of the stuff that you want it to do. So right now, the idea of, well, let's merge or combine or change those things, and the way that you're asking for it is a statutory impossibility. So we presented that to Mr. McClary. We did that last time as well. The DDA would welcome it. There's been some suggestions. I've met with several members of council that nobody really comes to our meetings. We have committee meetings, part of our Main Street. We had a big open house that celebrated the fact that we're recognized nationally for our 19th year. Mr. Ford came. Nobody comes. We open those doors up all the time. I've suggested, and I don't disagree, Mr. McClary has a very, very refined, specific legislative function for what he does on the executive side of things, and he's made the decision that should choose not to have an ad hoc meeting where we would have members of council, members of DDA, his office, my office, meet on a regular basis to discuss how things are going, or where are things going, or where's our budget stand. We just don't do those things. We used to do those things. The council president, the DDA board chair, and staff met regularly, and that process was discontinued. That might be, I mean, it sounds incremental, and it sounds like maybe a little thing, but right now, there's nothing. I see Mr. Ford, who I admire greatly, on the street, and on occasion, he's able to volunteer and get to some things. I've talked to Mr. Camperoni randomly. I know Mr. Lamb doesn't have much interest in coming, and I've talked to Ms. Mosier out at the lumberyard almost 2 years ago, but I haven't seen anybody else. I haven't seen you in our meetings, Mr. Papacek. You haven't said, Matt, how can I volunteer to get on the Economic Vitality Committee? How can I become part of this so that we can have a stronger voice? You know, I think that on a almost biweekly basis, to do the work that we all do together, Wes and I are doing great work together. I think the relationship for code enforcement and the police has been as strong in the last year as I remember it, having lived here since 1995, having been a former supervisor, having been part of that process. Our relationship is immensely strong. The clerk's office and the way we're working with staff together, I think that there's this disconnect because nobody shows up. Quite frankly, I'm the only one that shows up at your meetings. So we're just at fault for the whole thing. But the mechanism of saying, can we combine the DDA board into the planning commission? Statutorily, it's an impossibility. So we can't. So that question is answered not by us, not by any willpower that we might have. It's answered by a very, very long-standing established statutory framework for downtown development authorities and planning commissions. As I put in my memo, and as Bob Davis, who we spent money on in this, because every time we have to answer one of these questions, which I agree with you, Mr. Camper, we have to stop this at some point. Every month, I'm stopping what I'm doing on lumberyard and other things to stop and to do legal research and to do procedural research, just to like, what are the options here? Because that's the diligence we have to do. That's what Mr. McClary would expect of me, and I would expect of him. And we just stop every month on these questions. And this is one we can't do. Like, there's no way to do this. So I would suggest that in lieu of something like this, that the council would consider a motion. I'm going to go over.
4 minutes are up.
Would
Mr.
consider
Dick.
a motion that would simply ask the village manager to suspend the rules for a year and allow us to meet.
4 minutes is up. Thank you. Other public comment?
And this is why we can't get anywhere.
I saw Ms. Ford, and then, was your hand up?
I'm good now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Mr. Comandera?
We'll need to extend the meeting.
What's
It's
that? Oh, yeah, sorry. It is 9:29, so council, we need to choose to extend the meeting if we are to continue.
I move we continue
Until?
11. Got all night.
If you go for 30 minutes, George, I may agree to it.
All right, 30 minutes.
Support.
So we have a motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is extended for an additional 30 minutes. Mr. Comandera?
Yeah, I was telling you guys, Francesco Comandera, like I was telling you guys at the special meeting, I've been putting together the DDA database for statewide. I started it with Oakland County, and it's actually I built the program as a research thing to look into the TIF to see where all this money is going. One thing that is very evident with the DDA in Lake Orion as compared to the rest of the DDAs is the administrative costs far exceed the majority of a lot of the costs that other DDAs in our county still do. And I know someone made a comment about, that, we're not doing too hot as a state, like we're below Alabama, I think, but this is the wealthiest county in the state. I mean, there's tons of money here. The money is just not going to fix those things. And I'm not attacking the DDA. I love the DDA. I've talked, I love the DDA, but the reform needs to happen from the statute itself, because it's not going to happen now, because like the arguments are, people are going to do whatever they're legally allowed to do. And the DDA was vital in this community back in the 80s when it was created. It was desolate, And to me, I think it's more important to worry about the infrastructure needs first, to worry about maintaining historic preservation, as opposed to maintaining the sidewalks outside of business owners. And I think it's just something to think about. And I know you guys hated with the RDA, but the whole concept of the DDA was birthed in California from redevelopment agencies in California, and I've told you guys to research it. They dissolved all of those in 2011, 2012, because of the same issues that you guys are facing. It's not that they're taking money, it's that they are diverting taxpayer money, if that makes sense. So thus the county has to come up with more money to pay to fix the infrastructure. The state has to come up with more grant money. And, you know, that's not free money, as like you politicians say, that we pay for that. So just think about that, you know? Just think about that.
Thank you. Anybody else on the motion to request the village manager to provide an updated opinion? Mr. Laurent.
Hank Laurent, 218 South Broadway. It was really interesting looking at you guys today and watching the vote. And when I take a look at the vote, which was 4 people in the negative, one has always been negative, okay? But 3 others are different. One doesn't really talk much. But here's what I really noticed. I've never seen them ever at a planning commission meeting other than Mr. Lamb and Ms. Rudd. The rest of you, I'm sorry, George, you've been there too. I'm sorry, George. But the other 3 never saw you, ever. So let's switch over to the DDA. How many meetings have you been to at the DDA? Now, some of the other people that are actually on the planning commission have been to 1 or 2 DDAs. But again, there's 3 of you that have never been to one I've ever been at. And how can you make judgment on a DDA when you don't know it and don't understand it? And how do you make judgment on a planning commission that you don't know and don't understand it? And I think Mr. Gibbs said it the right way, because we've been through this year after year after year, and there's a lot of legal things involved in it. And I think that this motion, while it comes good from the heart, is not something we should do.
Thank you. Ms. Ford.
Just one other thing for people in reference to the DDA, because they want to do this combination. As a reminder that, was it 2 years ago, when they made a deal with the DDA, the village and the DDA, that we have a 75-25. So that means 75% of the monies come back to the village to be used for infrastructure, granted in the DDA district. But when that situation with the 75-25 was made, they said that is unprecedented anywhere, that nobody else does that. So I look at it that they were able to work this deal out with the village, they agreed to it, so we're getting that money to use for infrastructure in that area, and that allows that monies to be used in other areas. So just as a reminder, if people don't understand it, feel free to reach out to somebody at the village or the DDA board in reference to the 75-25 split. So just wanted to throw that in there. And the other thing is, when I look at this request for this recommendation, was the Planning Commission approached on this as well? And how would they feel, or let alone, I can only imagine what the DDA would feel as well, but how would they feel that more would be put on their board in helping to make decisions? Or are you still going to keep it separate, which I don't know how you could, because you're saying you want to combine them. And I think, I don't know, but I know that as council people, and a lot of people don't know this, but you wonderful people are basically volunteering. You get paid $10 a meeting. I think people look at council members and they think of cities where they make big monies and they run. The township trustees, I don't know what their rate of pay is for their trustees, but it's a lot more than $10 a meeting. Planning Commission, if they do get paid, I would imagine that the stipend is about the same of $10 a meeting. And that's put $10 a year. Thank you, Hank. And so to combine those is putting a big responsibility. So I'm just saying, I would agree with what was done last year, and with Mr. Dandelides, let's go out and support it, get it done, and see the fruits of that. Because it was all in agreement when they purchased this, that they didn't want it sold to a developer. That was their fear, because it was, we don't want more apartments, we don't want condos. This is the last large parcel in the village. Let's give it back to the citizens. And great things are going to happen. It's going to take time, yes, but let's work with them and see where we can go. The other thing I thought of is, you want to combine this, but yet in a sense, and it's nothing against them because I love both departments, but the DPW is part of the village, but yet they operate separately, their budget. Yes, they have to report to the village, but so does the DDA. Same thing with our police. So those are things we have to think about. Maybe I'm off base on that, but I feel that it's all departments, and let's all come together and see what goodness we can get out of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments on the motion to request the village manager to provide an updated recommendation? Seeing none, could I have a roll call, please?
Another one?
Oh,
We called the question?
we called the question and that failed, but now we have to vote on the actual motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To request that the village manager review and provide an updated recommendation on whether the village council should consider combining the DDA Board of Directors and the Planning Commission.
Okay. Councilmember Dandelides?
No.
Councilmember Mosher?
No.
Councilmember Papachek?
Yes. Wait.
President Rudd?
No.
Pro Tem Ford?
No.
Councilmember Comparoni?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
I'm confused.
Restate the mo- restate the motion.
I restated the motion before we voted, and I asked for a roll call.
I'm confused.
Darwin,
because
please advise for, we have parliamentary procedure here.
What was the first vote that we voted for?
I stated that we voted on the previous question, and that failed, and we are now voting on the motion, and I restated the motion and asked for a roll call.
So is the motion what we have on here as F, or the?
I restated the motion that Mr. Papachek made, and so we have commenced voting.
Okay, well, I guess I apologize. I became confused with all the back and forth. And I want to be able to change my vote. I didn't realize that that's what we were voting on. I apologize. It's been a long night.
Ms. Dow, I don't know if, we don't have an attorney and a parliamentarian here. I have Robert's Rules of Orders that I can reference if we wanted me to, because I clearly stated the motion. So it would look
Yes,
towards,
you did, and we didn't finish roll call.
then I would request that we
I
finish the roll
request
call,
that-
please.
Can we do a Roberts thing here? Okay.
Yes, I will pull out Robert's Rules of Order and see if I can.
I think we can we can have a motion to allow Councilperson Mosher to restate her vote.
I would like to confirm Robert's
I'd
rules.
like to make the motion to allow.
There is a current
Councilperson-
motion on the floor,
I
and
know
I
that I
am
made
going,
an interruptory motion, it's takes precedent.
I'm going to look at Robert's rules.
You changing the notes? Well, I'll go to No, it's, she's confused. I don't care if she's my wife or not, she's confused. Yeah. we have another-
Well, I'm going to make sure things are done properly.
This has nothing to do with.
I'm still going to make sure things are done properly. I have never
understand.
made that assertion.
I understand, I appreciate it. This is why I don't like to meet after 9:30. Sometimes I get confused.
You text me or something?
a big book. My apologies.
Professor Google, he knows everything.
You all have Google up in front of you if you find the section, if you found the section.
I just found this.
So because we didn't
I don't know
finalize
if it's right or not, but.
Can you reference the section? If you click on it, can you reference the section?
Up until the final result is announced.
Let me see if I can open it. No, this is not the action.
It seems like it, but I just want to reference and make sure.
Can you make a motion to be considered?
Teresa, from what I'm reading, it says as long as the official,
During the current meeting.
official
you
vote.
haven't announced the official vote, any member can change during, is what I'm reading.
Okay, I'm seeing right here in section 45(8), under changing one's vote, except when the vote has been taken by a ballot, a member has a right to change his vote up until the time the result is announced, but afterward can make the change only by the unanimous consent of the assembly and requested and granted without debate immediately following the chair's announcement of the result of the vote. So under Robert's rules, it is allowed.
Okay, can we start over, or do we have to just keep going?
Ask your husband how to vote.
That's not what I'm,
You may change your vote and request to change your vote until the result has been announced.
okay, so I would, then I'm changing it to yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
we have a 4-3 vote.
Thank you, motion carries. Item G,
I have another motion to make relative to this.
Mr. Dandelides?
So as I stated before, I do believe that we have an issue that needs to be addressed. And President Rutt, I think you alluded to it. I think the executive director also did. So I would like to make a motion to create a joint village/DDA steering committee consisting of the village council president or the president's designee, the village manager, the DDA board chairman or the chairman's designee, and the DDA executive director, and one additional representative from both council and the DDA board. This newly formed steering committee would convene twice monthly and discuss topics of priority between the village and the DDA, with the purpose of ensuring both the DDA and the village management are acting in the mutual best interest of the community and the taxpayers.
Support. Do you have any other comments on it?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, I think that Eric, I think, you said we got some friction. I believe we do have friction. And I believe that we need, a smaller group to manage some of these issues that are the source of the friction. And I think that, that's the right combination of people to do that.
Any other council comments? Mr. Lamb?
I'm not in favor of any steering committee of, no, I don't think that would be useful. It would,
Any other council comments? Mr. Camperoni?
I'd like to volunteer to be on that steering committee, if you want one extra.
That would be Mr. Dandelides' prerogative if he would want to update his motion to include a member on.
I was going to include me.
Well, you get to go on it too.
And if you don't have to. So.
Yeah, I think it's more important that let's establish the thing, and then we'll figure out who are the right players.
Any other council comments? Public comments? We have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Your Honor.
Yes.
Just one question. What is the term of the committee?
Indefinite.
You can't have.
We don't
an
allow for
indefinite
standing
committee.
committees. So you could say through the next election cycle, just because people may change.
Until the lumberyard project is completed.
Or that could, you could make it that too until the lumberyard. It's up to you. It's your motion.
Let's go project complete.
I'm not sure you can have a term beyond the term of the current council.
Okay, so.
Okay, then the
till
next
end of-
election cycle.
Until the end of this current council's term.
Not trying to be difficult, I just want to
Yeah.
keep you on the straight and narrow with the charter.
Yeah, thank you, Darwin. So public comments, yes.
I guess I support what George is saying. I mean, we need some change, you know? We need something that is going to give us a success, you know, reduce the friction, and move this whole thing forward, you know, as I said in planning. I mean, I'd like to see some of these projects done before I leave this earth, and, you know, I think the only way is again, to look at some change, look at some people that, from both sides, that can work together, and I have confidence these people will.
Thank you.
Good evening, Debbie Burgess, DDA Chair, 1317 East Rainer Road, co-business owner, Builders Custom Flooring. As a DDA Chair, I welcome the opportunity to meet with whoever you choose for Village Council, because I'm looking forward to the fact that we're going to work together and accomplish great things. Just in response to the idea of combining, it's illegal to do that. And so if we can find form some kind of committee where we can work together and communicate more effectively, I'm all in. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? So we have a motion on,
I'm just assuming the friction is the finances. And I feel like that's been an ongoing issue for a long time, even when we tried to put on the ballot for the DDA to be, the funding structure to be changed. I mean, I heard what Mr. Gibbs said about how he's trying to replenish funds. So I don't know, like, I've not done the research to figure out all the financial aspect of it. But just for me, looking at it as a resident, if they can afford to buy real estate and develop it, and they're talking about putting a bakery and a hotel at the lumberyard, and then the village can't afford to fund the infrastructure repairs, I mean, something seems like it's gone awry in the financial system of the village.
thank you. So the motion on the floor is to create a steering committee with a term limited to finish at the end of this current council's term, and that the steering committee would be comprised of the village manager, the DDA executive director, the DDA board chair, or their designee, the village president, or their designee, and one member, additional member from the DDA board and the village council. Mr. Lamb.
Can you more carefully clarify what a steering committee is? The duties of the DDA board and the village council are very clearly called out for in state law. So
let me give.
I'm talking to the president.
You're asking me?
No, talking to Teresa. They're clearly called out in state law. So, you know, directing, I would like to know specifically what this steering means to steer, which is to control. So I really want to be careful with the law here, okay? What is the committee's purpose?
I will defer that question to the person who made the motion.
That's all.
So I'm going to answer the question by giving you an example. Recently, there was an issue brought up at the DDA board meeting regarding the responsibility to execute under contract some of the electrical work on the plugs and whatnot in the very downtown district. That escalated into we, the village, spending real dollars on legal opinions between ourselves and the DDA. It went on to get the work completed by the DPW. Just happened to happen after, you know, the back and forth. And I believe that's exactly the kind of thing that can get worked out, okay? That, where I come from, my experience, the two people involved would get together and work that stuff out, okay? That did not happen in this case, and I'm not going to try and figure out why, but it didn't happen. So to get a small group together to work through that kind of thing so it doesn't escalate is exactly what I'm looking for to have happen.
Could I clarify? So it's more so like a communication clarity committee? if I could.
Yeah, the friction is, I'm going to suggest communication. And I think,
So you
I
should
think, I
clearly
think we,
define the.
I think we can rectify
You
that.
should just clearly define the purpose of the committee. I'm not interested in, you know, anything, but just clarify what the committee is for. I don't believe a steering committee is appropriate.
Okay, so did my example, that didn't help?
No, George, you need to, it's got to go in writing in our minutes to say the purpose of the committee. What is the purpose of the committee? I think that's a reasonable request, so I.
Okay,
try to
so
put something down.
here's what I read. Here's what I read.
I'm
So
just-
and committee would convene twice monthly and discuss topics of priority between the village and the DDA with the purpose of ensuring both the DDA and the village management are acting in the mutual best interest of the community and the taxpayers.
Okay, is that okay, Darwin? Can they ensure that you are acting in the best interest of the community? Is that appropriate language?
I think it's appropriate to establish this committee if the council wishes to do so, yes.
Okay, there you go. Thank you for restating the purpose of the committee and changing the name to something else. Yeah, that's all. I just want to be clear, so when we had to talk later.
I'm easy on the name of the committee. Call it whatever we want. I call it the twice a month coffee klatch.
So we have a motion, and the motion has been restated. Could I have a roll call? Just so I don't have to listen to Ford.
President Rutt.
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford.
Yes.
Councilmember Dandelides.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher.
Yes.
Councilmember Papachak.
No.
Councilmember Comparoni.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb.
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Would we want to establish the person or leave that for another? I think that,
I'd like to volunteer. I would love to be part of this. And I volunteer my time and my energy.
so how about this? I make a motion to designate Councilmember Dandelides for this committee. And then if I am to be absent, then I will appoint Mr. Comparoni as my designee if I have to be absent from the meeting.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion
No.
carries. Item G, acceptance of Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation Grant CAM and Defender Utility Vehicle. Chief Edmondson.
Sorry, I got lost in the last discussion. Let me find my spot.
Page 339.
Okay, my apologies for that. The Lake Orion Police Department has been awarded a grant from the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation in the amount not to exceed $24,749.99 for the purchase of a Can-Am Defender side-by-side utility vehicle. The Village of Lake Orion is home to approximately 3,000 residents, but we host numerous events throughout the year that draw crowds, sometimes exceeding 30,000 visitors. These events create unique public safety challenges, particularly in the areas of with limited access and where traditional vehicles cannot access, such as downtown pedestrian zones, parks, and trail systems, and also waterfront areas. The side-by-side utility will be used to support our police department with fire and also support fire and EMS operations by providing rapid access to medical emergencies, transporting personnel and equipment throughout these areas, and improving response during crowded or restricted areas, response times. The vehicle will be equipped with AED and medical supplies to assist with life-saving response efforts during these. That's all.
Thank you. I'll move to accept a grant award from the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation in an amount not to exceed $24,749.99 for the purchase of a Can-Am Defender utility vehicle for public safety use.
Support.
So my comment is, thankful to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation for this grant, and excited for our police department and the ability to purchase this for public safety and enhanced services in our village. Any other council comments?
One quick question. One quick question. How did we find this grant?
Just part of my normal administrative duties, we're constantly reviewing and searching for grants. This specific grant, I don't remember how I found this, but I applied for it about 4 or 5 months ago as part of the capital improvement.
And I figured that was the answer. Thank you.
Any public comments? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, finalize and adopt fiscal year 26-27 Village Council goals and objectives. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, Council is scheduled to finalize and adopt your fiscal year 2026-27 goals. You had a special meeting earlier this evening and reviewed and discussed those.
I'll make a motion to adopt the fiscal year 26-27 Village Council goals and objectives as amended at our special meeting earlier today.
Support.
Council comments? Public comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, call to the public. If there's any further public comment? Yes.
I'll make it quick, I promise. And I want to hear, you got the thing, still other stuff on the agenda. I just want to say I appreciate all the time and energy and patience that you guys put into my FOIA. It means a lot to me. I don't think I'm not the kind of person who's asked things twice or anything. I think I'm probably not going to do anything on that. I just want to say, though, that when speaking to people in the public, a lot of people are afraid to make public comment on things. They're afraid of scrutiny. They're afraid of, repercussions of things like that. Talking with people in the public. And like we were talking about at your special meeting, I think that, like I was saying, you got younger voters coming out. You're going to have to find ways to connect with people, whether you like social media or not. I don't like it. I use it. But, my daughter doesn't want to call. It's all text message. And it's, unfortunate, but that's the only way to communicate with my kid because she's, that's just how everyone is. So we kind of do have to accommodate to that. And that was it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It is 9:59, so council, we will have to vote again to extend the meeting if we want to allow for council comments, manager, and DDA director comments.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
There is a motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.